Hey, good morning, everyone. This is Deborah Lightheart. I do all my own video and audio stuff, so I just want to make sure everything is working smoothly before I begin. So if you can all hang tight for just about 30 seconds. I just want to check and make sure. Oh, definitely heard myself and saw myself, so so everything is streaming smoothly. That's wonderful. Well, good morning. Just going to get back to all right, wonderful. So I am Deborah Lightheart, and I have gathered together a bunch of wonderful speakers and experiences for you all to enjoy today. Every half hour, we'll have somebody new coming on to either share some energy healing or possibly share some psychic messages. So basically that's what we're going to be doing today, sharing some free classes, some free messages, some free energy healing, and we're excited that you could join us today. Just to explain how everything works, for those of you who have never done this with me before, there's a little chat box in the area just below this video. And if you just scroll down, and if you don't see it, I just added it a few minutes ago, so maybe try it clicking refresh. But if you don't see it, just refresh your screen, scroll down a little bit. You'll see a little chat box there. We can only have about 10 people in the chat box at a time. So if you don't have a question for the current speaker, please take a moment to log out of the chat box to let somebody else in, so that if somebody else has a question, they're able to ask it in a timely basis. So thanks so much for joining me today. Excuse me. I would like to offer an energy bath healing session. Now, just to tell you all a little bit about what I do. I've been a psychic and an energy healer for about 20 years now. And what I do with the energy bath sessions is I psychically connect to everyone that's in the group or everyone that's on the call. And also I kind of put a vibe out there for anyone who's going to attend in the future. And through doing that, I reach out, I connect with everyone energetically, and then I do what I can to bring in positive energy and light and, good vibes to each person in the group. So for most of the session, you can feel free to close your eyes. In fact, I'll probably even take my video off for a minute just so that we can all just really focus, as opposed to trying to focus on, the imagery or whatever that you're seeing. Instead, you just focus within, because that's really what it's all about. As we go through the energy session, you will probably feel some, shifts in your energy for those who are sensitive. Some people don't really notice. They just kind of relax and they feel a little sleepy. But for people who are sensitive to energy, you may feel, a shift. You may feel a warmth, a tingling. You might feel a pressure or a presence or something like that. And that's really because what we're doing is we're calling in all of your guardian angels and spirit guides. We're opening the portals between the dimensions and bringing in, your higher frequency energy, so we're bringing in the light, we're bringing in, your connection to the divine. And so, you may notice that during the session. So just know that that's part of the process. Don't be startled, don't be afraid. That's what it's meant to do. We're gathering together to be able to bring, love, light, and healing into your world. So I want to thank you all so much for joining me. And I forgot to set all of the adjustments for the new speakers. So if you want to just give me a second. All right. I think I figured it out. All right, wonderful. Okay, so what I'd like to invite you all to do is to just find a place where you can get nice and comfortable, okay? Whether that be somewhere near, your device that you're streaming this from, or wherever it is in your home. If you can find a place that you can get nice and comfortable, because we're going to do kind of like a guided meditation. So I want to invite you all to relax and just unwind. Take a deep breath, just kind of center yourself. Let go of any stress or tension. Hopefully you don't have too much already because it's so early in the morning. But if you can just let go of any stress and tension you might be feeling. And I'm going to go ahead and turn off my video so you can all just take a moment to just really tune into yourselves. You can close your eyes if you like. And just tune in within. And as you breathe deeply and comfortably, just letting go of all your thoughts and to-dos and allowing yourself to be present in this space and time. And as you do so, let's start off by calling in all of your guardian angels and spirit guides, all the beings of love and light that watch over you, asking them to step into this space and time, surrounding you in a circle of white light, and opening the portals and pathways between heaven and earth for you to be able to receive all the love, light, and healing that you need today. Very good. So as you breathe deeply and comfortably, imagine you're taking a breath that's filling your whole body from head to toe. So imagine you can just breathe into your whole entire body. So breathing in a nice deep breath from head to toe, full body breath. And then gently exhaling and releasing that breath. Okay, let's do that one more time. Nice deep full body breath. And releasing. Very good. Very good. So as you breathe deeply and comfortably, do a scan of your body from head to toe. And just check if there are any areas of your body that feel stressed or tense or tight. Scan your neck and shoulders, all the way down your back. Check your arms and legs. If you feel any spaces with tension or stress, just give a gentle stretch to release. Lift your shoulders up and release them. Stretch them back. Move your head around. Whatever you need to let go of the stress and tension that your body might be carrying. All right, as you relax and breathe, just moving around your arms and legs, stretching your fingers and toes, getting your body nice and comfortable, preparing to receive all the light and love that you need. When you're ready, we're going to tune into the light above. So just imagine, use your imagination to just reach your awareness up through the ceiling, up through the roof, up through the sky and clouds. Very good. Very good. Reaching all the way up to the source of light of all that is. Letting that light beam down from the universe, down through the sky and clouds, down through the roof and ceiling, right into the room where you are. And as you breathe and allow that light to flow down into your body through your crown, letting that light flow all the way down through your neck and shoulders, down your spine, over your chest and torso, all the way down your back, around your legs, your hips. Just breathing and relaxing your body and allowing yourself to receive. And allowing that light to flow down all the way down to your feet and toes. Very good. All right, I can feel everybody's receiving. So if you can just allow that light to flow through you and continue flowing through you. Now we're going to tune into the light from the center of the earth. So let's focus down into the earth, down through the floor, down through the foundation of the building you're in, down through the layers of soil and rock, all the way to the center of the earth. You'll feel that same kind of light, that life force energy, that chi, that prana. Just allow it to come up from the center of the earth, up through the layers of rock and soil, all the way up through your feet, through your legs, breathing it in, bringing it up through your torso, all the way up to your chest and neck, and breathing it all the way up to the crown of your head. All right, very good. So now we're connected to the light above, we're connected to the light below. So let's anchor that in the center of your heart. So just imagine that you can kind of bring in that beam of light from above, bring up that beam of light from below, and just center it in the middle of your heart. So just breathing and allowing those two beams of light to center into your heart, activating the energy of love within you. Love is the greatest healing power in the entire universe. It's our source and supply. It helps to fuel us in all that we do. So just allow those two beams of light to connect in the center of your heart. Breathing deeply and comfortably. Very good. Very good. All right, so now we're fully connected to the light above, the light below, and the light within. And as you do this, just imagine yourself surrounded in light from every angle, every direction. Feeling the love in your heart, feeling the love of the universe shining down on you. Feeling the love of Mother Earth pulsing up through your body. And when you're ready, we're going to take a little journey together, knowing that these next 3 months of our lives, this next season, brings us a great opportunity to plant new energies, to grow new directions, to expand on what we've already been working on. And allow yourself to think about an intention. Just think about what it is that you want to see yourself accomplishing, achieving, including in your life over these next 3 months. Think about the kind of energies that you want to be and see and feel. Would you like more joy in your life? More enlightenment, more strength, more stamina, more balance, more peace and harmony? Just think about the energies that you would like to create and grow in your life over these next few months. And once you have an idea of what you'd like to expand or grow, All right, we're going to imagine a series where you can walk out into the earth. Imagine yourself just walking out into a space where you could plant the seeds of these energies. Think about the spaces in your life and what they would look like. And just imagine yourself walking into those spaces and planting seeds for the energies, for the experiences that you want to be having. All right, and as you imagine that, see yourself planting those seeds. See yourself taking them into the ground, settling them deep into the earth, planting them in the areas of your life where they're most needed. And while you do that, you can call forward one of your guardian angels or guides to help you and assist you in this journey. And this may be someone you knew in this lifetime, it may not. So allow yourself to call forward whoever it is that can be most helpful in planting and growing these energies in your life. Okay? And see yourself working as a team with your spirit guide or guides, your team. See yourself working together to plant those seeds and decide what they need to grow. You can water them. You can call in more sunlight, more sunshine. You can bring them some nice fertile soil. Whatever it is that these energies need to grow. And once you've visualized the planting of these seeds and the nourishing these seeds, ask yourself in this space and in this energy, what is it that I can do in my life to facilitate this energy too? What action steps can you take to help these energies grow? And if you're thinking about action steps that seem too hard to take, or they seem too big or monumental to be able to grow those energies, break it down into a smaller step, something that's achievable, something you could do on a regular basis, daily if possible. Break it down into a small, achievable step, something easy, even for 1 minute or 5 minutes. And holding all those action steps in your heart and in your mind, sort of keeping them in the autopilot of your consciousness, allowing yourself to develop habits that will help to connect you with the energies that you really want to see in your life. We've got habits every day, things that we do all the time, and sometimes they're not creating the energies that we really want to see. Maybe we want more abundance and prosperity, but maybe we spend too much time worrying. Maybe we want to feel more fit and healthy, but we spend too much time on the couch. Whatever it is, allow yourself to create new habits, new action steps that will facilitate the energies you really want to grow and develop in your life over these next few months. And taking a nice deep breath, and again, keeping those action steps kind of on your to-do list in the back of your consciousness. helping you to develop all the new habits you need to support your intentions and goals. And now ask yourself, is there anything in your life, anything in your life circumstance or situation that might need to be changed to help facilitate your goal? Do you need to have, do you need to change a relationship? Do you need to get up earlier? Is there anything in your world that needs changing to facilitate your goals? And focus on those changes and say to yourself, I allow myself in body, mind, and spirit to become completely aligned with my intentions. My goals are achievable and my intentions are clear. That's feeling good. Very good. All right. So taking a nice deep breath, again, using that same full body breath that we talked about before. Breathing in all your action steps, your new habits and patterns. Breathing in all the shifts and changes in your world. Keeping your eyes closed and asking yourself one more question. Is there anyone else in my life who helps me facilitate this energy? Anyone else that I could connect with? Anyone that I could talk to or visit or learn from that can help me facilitate my intentions over the next few months? Opening your heart and just kind of reaching out and imagining who would be most helpful in the world. Maybe it's somebody in your life that you already know, so it's easy to reach out to them. And maybe it's someone you don't know yet. Maybe it's someone you need to meet to teach you how to do something to achieve your goals. And whoever it is, just give yourself a moment, your heart opening up to receive and connect with whoever it is that can help facilitate your goals. Knowing that you've got something to offer them and they've got something to offer you. And allowing yourself to think about the times and spaces that you'll be able to connect with this person or people. Imagine yourself putting it in your calendar, in your scheduling book, to make time in your life to connect with those who help you facilitate your goals and intentions. Maybe you need to laugh more. Maybe you need to socialize more. Whatever it is, imagine yourself connecting with all the people who can help make that happen, easily and effortlessly, with joy and grace. All right, taking another nice deep full body breath and bringing all your awareness of your action steps, your new habits, the changes in your world, and the people that you need to connect with. Holding that all in your heart and mind as you begin to return your awareness to the room you're in, to this space and time, to the live stream that we're on, and begin to return your attention and your awareness to the present moment. knowing you've planted the seeds in your subconscious and that all aspects of yourself are going to be guiding you toward your goals. When you return your attention to this room, this space and time, you can begin to wiggle your fingers and toes and stretch your arms and legs. Wake yourself up and get ready for the rest of the day. And in a moment, I'm going to count from 1 up to 3 so you can become more and more aware, more and more awake, more and more ready for the next step of your journey. Taking a nice deep breath as we begin our count. 1, 2, and 3. You can open your eyes and reconnect to the video. I decided not to turn it off for anybody who was watching in the future. I thought it'd be kind of boring just to see one picture floating by, so I left the video on for the whole time. But thank you all for coming back. I hope you enjoyed the energy session. I was able to tune into you and feel when everybody was kind of moving their energy around, and you guys did a great job, so very well done. And I want to just explain to you a little bit about what we've got lined up for the rest of the day now. So I like to start every session off. I like to start every video stream that I do off with a nice meditation energy healing session because I feel like it gets us all in a really good space, to be able to receive new information, to be able to have new aha moments and kind of like really recognize, within us the impact of what the live stream and all of the presenters are going to be able to do for us today. Because sometimes if we sort of come into a moment and our minds are full of everything else we've got going on everywhere else in the world, it's hard to be fully present and really get, what's here. So even if we have the greatest buffet of ideas and energies and inspirations and everything we need, it might be hard to really absorb it and really take in all that we need and want. So I love to start every session exactly like this with just a nice little energy healing meditation to kind of get us grounded, get us centered, and get us really prepared to be present and to receive, the gifts that all of our presenters are offering today. So we've got several different presenters on several different topics. Some people are going to be sharing, classes and education and information. Some people are going to be sharing kind of like what I did, a little bit of an energy healing or, sort of guided meditation experience, and some people are going to be talking a little bit about products and services that might be able to help you on your journey. So everybody is coming with some beautiful, offering to add to our buffet today. And and really I love for you guys to be able to pop in and out. If you know anyone else who might be interested in joining us, we're going to be here for the next 5.5 hours. So please feel free to drop them a note, send them a text, tell them what's going on here at thehealingcommunity.org. They don't need to sign up for anything. They don't need to join any email list. Hey, Sally. I'm so sorry, everyone. My computer decided to completely die. So I apologize for that. It took me a couple minutes to get logged back in. By the next live stream in 3 months, I promise that I will have a better setup. But right now, I'm still working on like a really old, outdated, kind of crummy computer system. So I apologize. It overheated and died, and it took me a few minutes to get back, but I'm here now, and I'm more than ready to present to you our next speaker. Good morning, Sally. How are you?
Hi, Deborah. I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you. So I know that you've got something prepared for everyone today. Would you like to share a little bit about what you're going to be doing today?
Yes, absolutely. First of all, welcome everyone. And thank you so much for that wonderful beginning. You got us grounded, which is great. It's a great place to start from. So we got
Mhm.
grounded, we called in our guides, we're ready to go, and now let's get into some work. Let's get into some hands-on here. And so I have two things for you today. One is a very simple clearing practice that I learned from a Peruvian shaman. It's something you can do anywhere, anytime, so it's great. And also, I wanted to take you on a little journey as well, a shamanic journey to speak with the spirit of water, which I think water is a beautiful feminine energy and so appropriate for spring, such a good energy to call on for cleansing and renewal and growth in the springs. So that's where I'm going today. So why don't we, if everybody's ready, why don't we get started? Just a little bit of background for this clearing practice. Uh, the Peruvian shamans that I've worked with, instead of working with the more complicated 7 chakra system that you may have heard of, they work with 3 energy centers in the body. So they keep it very simple, so it's easy to remember, easy to do, and beginning with the belly that's the first place where we start is our belly. That's the first center. So 3 energy centers: the belly, the heart, and the head. So starting with the belly, just think of this as the place where you are connected, first of all, to your mother, and then also connected to the earth. So this is the place where we really feel our humanness, where we feel a lot of physical sensation in the belly, and it really encompasses those first 3 chakras when we work with the belly. And then working with the heart, this is the place where we're connected to ourselves, to our emotions, and to our truth as well, and also where we're connected to others in relationship. So this encompasses really the 4th and the 5th chakras. And then the head, and this really encompasses our 6th and 7th chakras. And this is where we're connected into our divine self, into the larger energies of the universe, to our own wisdom, and of course to the divine, whatever we perceive that to be. So we work with those 3 energy centers when we're clearing out heavy energy and we're bringing in light energy. So in this Peruvian tradition that I've done some work in, and I'm really just a beginner, but it's a beautiful tradition. The idea is that we work with the elements, and we work with the earth, Pachamama, our mother. We also work with the stars and the moon. So, very earth-based kind of belief that everything is energy, right? And we're just energy in a physical form. And we exchange energy all the time with the elements, and we take them in and we send them out. So what happens over time, and it really happens every day, but it also happens over time, is that heavy energy, not necessarily negative or bad, but just heavy energy can sort of collect up and accumulate in our energy body. And remember, our energy body covers all around us. But it tends to settle sort of like snow into cracks and crevices. So our chakras or our energy centers are places where there's a lot of things going on. Things are moving in and out. It's open to the outside sometimes, and sometimes it's not. And when it's not, that heavy energy can't get out, and it collects in those energy centers and kind of blocks them up. And we might feel this physically. We might feel tired. We might feel achy. We might feel angry. We might feel crabby or sleepy. Everybody feels it differently, but when that energy has accumulated, and it's time to move it out. And there's many, many practices for moving energy out. This is only one of very many. It's just one that I find very simple and very easy to do. So you can follow along with me today if you like, and I believe that this is being recorded, so you'll be able to go back and watch it and do it on your own if you like. And ideally, all you need is a quiet place, no distractions, and access to some kind of water. So the elements that we're going to be using in this practice are water and air and fire and also the earth, because the earth takes our heavy energy and eats it and digests it and turns it into what we need, because we get everything except a light and heat source comes from the earth. So any energy that we don't need anymore, it's not wasted. We give it to the earth, we let it go, and then she takes it and she uses it and gives us back what we need and what we want. So as far as water, all you need is just a sink. I mean, just grab a cup of water. You just need a few drops. What I like to do, I like to have flower essences or essential oils in a spray bottle, or in a bottle where I can just put a little bit on my hands, and that's all that I need. If you're in a bathroom in a building somewhere, you can just go get your hands wet in the bathroom sink. That's all you need to do. All right. Well, let me show you how this little clearing practice works. The first thing I'm going to do is take my spray bottle, and I'm just going to put a little bit of my water into my palm. So we have our first element, and then I'm going to take my palms together and I'm going to rub them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What I'm doing is I am absorbing the water into my body, and I'm creating heat. Okay, so I've got water and heat, and now I'm bringing it to my face. My nose is covered. You can kind of see I've got my thumbs crossed. Take a nice deep breath in, taking in the essence of the water and the heat, and then just letting it out through my mouth. And doing this 3 times. And so now what I've done is I've activated the energy that's in my hands. I've activated the water, I've activated the heat, and I brought my breath into it now. So my breath is drawing in that water, it's drawing in that heat. It's bringing in those elements into every cell in my body. Now I'm going to take my hands and rest them on that belly center. You can't really see me. I'll stand up for a minute. You can just see that. So just resting my hands on the belly center in this place. And then imagine, if you will, unscrewing the lid of a jar. So by doing that, you're opening that energy center. So go ahead and unscrew that jar, open that energy center 7 times around. The numbers aren't magic. If you do it 6 or 8, it's still going to work. Everything, as Deborah was telling us, is intention. So, whether you do the actions just perfectly doesn't matter at all. It's all about your intention. And right now, your intention is, let's move that heavy energy out. Anything that's sticking to the sides of the the body, anything that's in there that could be causing any problems, we want to let that go. We want to remove that. So now you can take your hands up and you can go ahead and do the same thing on your heart. That heart center, that heart energy center, just go ahead and open that up. Open that up and just let it come open. And then when you finish that, come ahead and do your heart, do your head. 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, beautiful. So now you've opened those energy centers, your hands are activated. And so go ahead and take your hands back to that belly center and imagine that you're just cleaning it out. So whatever you would do to clean out something that's dirty, imagine that you're wiping it out. Imagine that you're drawing things out of there. Maybe you're scrubbing, whatever it is that is your experience of just cleaning and removing. Just go ahead and do that. Do that to your belly center. When you feel like you've done that, when that's done, go ahead and come to your heart. And again, so for me, I like to pull. I like to just draw out strands of whatever is stuck in there. I like to get that out. And I'm just sending it to the earth. I'm just letting it come out. I'm dropping it to the earth and letting Mother Earth, or Pachamama as the Peruvians call her, just letting her take that. It's like I'm feeding her. I love that imagery of feeding Mother Earth. So I'm feeding Mother Earth. And then again with my head. So here I'm drawing it out. I'm dropping it down. Just bringing out anything that could be in there. Maybe you need to move around a little bit in there, grab it, pull it out. These physical actions of doing this, they anchor our intention. It anchors our intention to draw that out. So when you feel like you have, you've gotten to all of your energy centers and you've cleared that out, now you can go back to the belly center again now and screw the jar lid back on again. So now you're closing that energy center, sealing that back up so that really nothing's going to go in there unless you want it to. Nothing's going to go in there unless you have chosen for it to go in there. And so they're sealed but not closed. So imagine that there's sort of a clear seal over it, and you can open and close that seal whenever you want to. So then go ahead and bring your hands together again, and then to break up any heavy energy that's kind of still sticking around, hanging around, go ahead, clap your hands 3 times and shake them off. Shake them off. Anything else going to Mother Earth, giving it to Mother Earth. Great, great. Wow, that feels good already. That feels really good. So let's take a little journey together now that we've kind of taken some of that negative or heavy energy out. Disorganized is another way to look at it. Now that we've taken that out of our bodies and out of our energy bodies and our physical bodies, and we have room now to bring in what we want. We have room to bring in what we need to have there. And so we're going to take a shamanic journey. And today our journey is going to be to the spirit of water. Water is life, right? Water is everything to us. Without water, we could not exist, and the earth would not exist as it does. So we owe everything to water. And she knows that, and she loves giving to us. She loves giving to us in so many different forms. And she is ready to give us, I think, a lot this spring. You know, the spring rains will be coming soon, and the snow has or is melting wherever you might be. And the water is beginning to move. It's beginning to flow. And we want that water to move and to flow in our bodies. We want energy to flow and move in our energy bodies. So water can give us some beautiful gifts. It can give us some beautiful insights. It's very calming. It's very cleansing. And as humans, we're drawn to water. We're just drawn to it. So as we get ready for this little journey, I'd like you to be thinking about a body of water or a form of water or some kind of water that has meaning to you, that's special to you. And begin to picture that in your mind's eye as we get ready for our journey. So a shamanic journey is really not any different than a guided meditation. It's very similar. The idea is that we're stepping out of our ordinary reality into non-ordinary reality, where anything is possible. And in that place, everything can speak to us. Everything can tell us something that we need to know or want to know if we're listening, if we're ready to listen. So when we take a shamanic journey, we're saying, I'm listening. I'm ready to listen. So take a moment, if you need to, grab a drink of water and get yourself in a comfortable position. I'm going to have you close your eyes and settle in and listen and follow along. What I'm going to do is bring up a picture of some water, because I know some folks have a little trouble sometimes keeping focused in a meditation. And so if your eyes come back open, take a look at the water and let it remind you to come back into that beautiful water place. And let's see, so I'm bringing up this beautiful scene. It could be sunset, it could be sunrise. There's water, there's the sun behind some beautiful clouds. It's very calming, very relaxing. And this is a great, I think it's a great way to focus your attention if you're not comfortable with your eyes closed or comfortable with your, with just your imagination. So as you close your eyes, you begin to imagine or envision this place of water. I want you to think about it as a place of peace. I want you to engage all of your senses. So bring in the smell of the water, bring in the sound. It could be dripping, it could be running, it could be waves crashing on the shore, it could be roaring. Just let that sound come to your mind. The feel of water, it's either cool or warm, how it slides and glides over your body. Perhaps you're even going into the water. Perhaps you're walking in the water with your feet or splashing with your hands. Maybe you're actually fully immersed in the water. Perhaps you're swimming, you're floating, you're just sitting on the bottom of that body of water, you're just enjoying the feel of the water around you, taking in with your senses, feeling, smelling, hearing, maybe even tasting. Maybe it's water that you want to taste, and imagine that as well. But just be with the water, be completely with the water. And as you take yourself into this place of being with the water, begin to open your heart to receive. Send out a message, almost as if you were sending out a beam of light from your energy body, from your belly, from your heart, from your head. Send out a beam of light that says, I'm listening, I'm ready, I'm open to receive. And then ask for what it is that you need. It might be a message about what needs to be cleansed in your body. It might be a message about what needs to be cleansed in your relationship. It might be a message about what needs to be cleansed in your external environment. What needs to be cleansed? What needs the beautiful cleansing power of water to flow through it? what needs to be carried away and allowed to go somewhere else. Not in an angry, I'm done with you, get out of my life way, but a very gentle, please move along and go to your next destination kind of way. Just let that move along. So ask for that. Ask for the Spirit of Water to speak to you right now. You may hear from her in many different ways. You might hear a voice in your head. You might have a knowing in your heart, or one of your guides may speak to you. You may hear music or remember a memory. You might get a certain feeling somewhere in your body. Whatever that is, pay attention to it. Listen to it. It's very important. It's the Spirit of Water speaking to you. So I'm just going to be silent for about a minute to give you a chance to connect with the Spirit of Water and listen for her message. So taking that message to heart, whatever it was, take that in now and take it with you as a gift. And if you want, if it's easier for you, imagine that gift in the form of something that you can carry, something water related. So imagine it maybe as a shell from the beach, or a stone, or a picture in your mind of a particular water place. Just imagine that it is a gift that you're taking with you now. Carry that gift with you. And it's something that you can always look at, you can always get out and remember what the Spirit of Water brought you, what she wanted you to know, what she wanted you to hear, what she wanted you to listen to. So take a moment to thank the Spirit of Water now. In whatever way seems best to you, express your gratitude for all of her gifts, including what you received today. But all of her gifts, snow, rain, a beautiful lake to swim in or to float on, the fish and the seafood that come from the water that allows everything to grow. Just take a moment to express that gratitude. And then allow yourself to walk back away from the water. Leave that place of water. Begin to notice the sights and sounds around you of the room that you're in, coming back into present day ordinary reality, but carrying with you now that gift and that memory that you can call on anywhere, anytime to invoke the Spirit of Water and cleanse what needs to be cleansed in your life. And I would just invite you sometime soon when the weather is good, today is supposed to be beautiful in the Milwaukee area, find that body of water, go to your body of water, or any body of water, and do this meditation, do this journey again. And do it again and again anytime you want. Because the Spirit of Water is always there for you. She's always waiting there for you. And if you're listening, you'll hear her message. So thank you so much for sharing this meditation with me. Really appreciate the opportunity to get to speak with all of you. And a wonderful, beautiful day.
Thank you so much.
Yay!
Thank you so much for joining us, Sally, and thank you for the beautiful journey. I want to let everybody know before we let you go that Sally, we are blessed to have Sally as part of the healing community, and she offers shamanic journeys and readings on our website at meetourproviders.com. And also, if you're interested in more information, Sally, do you want to share with them your website too, your personal website?
Oh, sure. It's 12stoneshealing.com. I'm also on Facebook as well.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Sally. That was a beautiful journey. And I personally I felt so much clarity and cleansing going on. So thank you for guiding us through that.
Well, thank
And
you, Deborah.
you're absolutely right. All of this session is going to be recorded and it will still be available on this page. So for anybody who enjoyed the session and wants to share it with others, please feel free to share the link to this page with them because people can come back and afterwards all of these videos will be available. We'll have this full 6-hour live stream available for about the next couple of days. It takes me a little while to get all the videos separated. But very soon the videos will be separated and people can watch each individual piece as needed. So thanks again, Sally. Hope you have a wonderful, enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
Bye. All right. Well, that was a beautiful experience. Now, I'm really excited to bring on our next presenter today, mostly because I myself have found myself struggling sometimes with knowing, even though I'm a label reader and I have been for like 20 years, sometimes I remember I won't name the brand and call them out loud, but one of my favorite brands sold to a big corporation a few years ago. And I remember the day it happened, I got my deodorant and I went to put it on and I was like, this doesn't smell natural. Like, what is this? And I flipped it over and I'm like, lo and behold, the deodorant I had been buying for years had sold out to a new corporate company and was no longer 100% natural. And so I'm really excited to share with you today a presentation by my dear friend, Becca Killen. She's going to talk to us a little bit. Now, I'm not really familiar with her product line other than a little bit of the argan oil. So I'm not really familiar. So this is going to be a brand new education for me as well as it is for all of you. So I'd like to introduce you, Becca. Hey, Becca, do you want to say hi to everyone?
Hi. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes, you're streaming just perfectly and your lighting is good so we can see you and we can hear you. That's beautiful.
Okay. Great. So I'm Becca Killen, and I will be your Pure Haven Essential, sorry, first time live streaming, so a little nervous. Your Pure Haven Essential Consultant for today. I just wanted to thank Deborah too for putting this together for us. The first time I did one of these with her was just a couple months ago, or I think right around Christmas time, New Year's time, and I really enjoyed it. So very honored to actually be a part of it and one of the presenters today. Yeah, so this will be fun. I'm going to first give you a little bit of information, a little bit about me, the company, some products, and then I'm going to just show you some of my favorites and so on. Again, so Pure Haven Essentials Consultant. I'm also a stay-at-home mom. I have 3 wonderful boys, and I live here in Germantown with my husband. I first got involved with Pure Haven Essentials, mostly because it was just like a nice way to get these products that I wanted and make a little extra money while staying at home as well. And for those of you who haven't heard of Pure Haven, we are a truly all natural, all organic company. Our mission is to educate consumers about pure, safe, alternative personal care, home care, kid and pet care choices, and to empower people to live the healthiest lifestyle that they possibly can. The company it adheres to a strict 6-step ingredient sourcing procedure. So that means we're very, very careful about where we are getting our ingredients from. And we manufacture our products in our own USDA certified organic facility right here, right out in Rhode Island. So everything is USA made, and everything is made in small batches, so it's always fresh. So that's a little bit about the company. I myself found Pure Haven Essentials about 3.5 years ago. We had a different name at the time. If anyone has ever heard of Ava Anderson Untoxic, same company, we just rebranded and so on. So I found it about 3.5 years ago, just on a Facebook party that my friend invited me to. So it was really simple to learn about this stuff. One of the reasons I love Facebook, you got to go party in your PJs. So anyways, I bought a couple of products and I instantly fell in love with them. I was really amazed at how, not only how effective they were, but also how affordable they were. And I wanted to sign up right away. And I admit, when I first signed up, it was because I wanted the discount, because I wanted to buy everything. But after I learned some more and grew some more with the company, I decided this was something else I wanted to share, something I wanted to educate people on. That part of that became very important to me as well. So I'm hoping today that you'll learn something too as we go over some of the products and some of the ingredients I'm going to tell you about. And then I'll show you some great alternatives that we have to some of the things that you may already be using. I've always been interested in things that are all natural and organic, whether it comes to things we eat, or things I'm using to wash clothes with, or anything I'm putting on my skin. And I thought I had been doing a really good job. I thought when I bought something that said all natural or eco-friendly or any of those kind of wordings, I was being safe. And as I said earlier, through Pure Haven, I learned that that's not always exactly entirely true. There's not a lot of regulations on this kind of stuff, and products that will say things on them like natural and eco-friendly. While they may have some products in there that are natural, they may also contain a lot of harmful chemicals as well. Similar to like what Deborah said about how it smelled different, and I'm going to talk about fragrance too. But anyway, so I was shocked because I had thought that I had been doing a really good job. Here I am buying all these, green-friendly products. And I was like, what have I been putting on my kids? What have I been putting on the surfaces that come in contact with our food? So again, I'm so thankful that I found this company and that I'm able to share this message with you. So today I wanted to share just a couple of things on the ingredients to avoid. For today, I'm just gonna go over 2. But we do have a really nice list. It's called our Did You Know brochure, and it goes into much more detail. It has many more ingredients and what's in them and why they're harmful and so on. And it's a nice little pamphlet that you can keep in your purse, in your pocket, and just have with you whenever you go shopping to just check on things. And if you'd like one, just let me know. Just comment at any point or on the event page, or we can work that out. And then I can get in touch with you and get those out to you. Okay, so first ingredient I want to go over is fragrance or perfume. And that one is a pretty big red flag. You see that on products. When companies use the word fragrance or perfume, it's kind of a catch-all, and they can hide all sorts of ingredients in there, including ingredients that the FDA has already banned, and they don't have to tell us what those ingredients are. It's known as a trade secret. More than 75% of products that use the word fragrance are legally hiding things like phthalates in them. And for those of you who don't know, phthalates are kind of in the plastic category. They're used in like commercial lubricants and adhesives, and it's the same stuff that they're putting into your products that you are then putting onto your skin. And phthalates are not good to put on your skin because they are also known endocrine disruptors. And what that means is they affect things like the birth defects and obesity, autism, cancer, diabetes, ADHD, just to name a couple of those kind of things that they can affect. when we get them into our systems. And like I said, companies can legally put these ingredients in when they use the word fragrance. So be sure when you're looking at products to look out for the word fragrance. And I'm even a little bit leery. Sometimes you'll see naturally fragrant. Still kind of leery about that because, again, they may have some natural ingredients in there, but you don't know what else they are putting in there because they don't have to tell us. So you'll never see the word fragrance or perfume in any of the Pure Haven Essential products. We use essential oils to scent everything. And I really love the way everything smells. It's real fresh and crisp. And something I've noticed too since switching over to naturally scented things is I don't get headaches anymore if I'm using cleaners or we have a couple candles and so on. I used to get these headaches, and that can be related as well to the synthetic fragrances. And so that's been really nice for me as well. But the second ingredient I wanted to talk about were just endocrine disruptors. And the reason is they are commonly found in many products, and these products have a variety of endocrine disruptors in them. So what that means is, let's say your morning routine, for example, your shampoo, your conditioner, your hairspray, your moisturizer, your foundation, your mascara. I just named a variety of products that you're using, and within those products, they have many different endocrine disruptors within them. So just within your morning routine, you could be using a lot of more of the harmful chemicals and not realizing it. And these are also in addition to the ones that you would find in fragrances. And so why is this important? And it's pretty much because the endocrine system regulates most of our bodily functions. It's metabolism, it's the reproductive system, it's the nervous system, your blood sugar, your thyroid, your pituitary and adrenal glands, all of that kind of stuff. So it's really important that you look out for endocrine disruptors because they're going to mess with all of those systems. One of the top ones to look out for is parabens, and I believe a lot of people have heard parabens, and it's good that it's becoming more and more mainstream, and that those are starting to come. You're seeing that to come out of products, which is good as well. And the reason for parabens is because they mimic estrogen, and they are suspected to be linked with things like breast cancer. And so even if you see something with like a short word, like a 4 or 5 letter word in front of it, and then you see parabens, it's still a paraben and still something to look out for. Okay, yeah, so that's it for the ingredients. Like I said, I have a pamphlet, a little brochure. If anyone's interested, I would be happy to send that out to you. So now that we're past some of the more serious stuff, I want to go over some of the products with you that I use every day, some of the ones that I love, some of the ones that I started with. And just a side note, we recently rebranded. We just have a new label and a new little logo. So that's why you're going to see 2 different labels today, because I have both, which is something I wanted to mention, which is something that's really nice, is that these products really last a long time. So that's why I have some of the old labels, because I'm still not done using them. And we rebranded back in last fall, around right before Halloween type, just to give you an idea. So I wanted to start with our 6-piece skincare set. It includes a cleanser, a toner, an exfoliator, moisturizer, an eye cream, and our night serum. So this would be for if you're like washing your face at night. The cleanser is the first one. This is our cleanser. Oh, and this is another thing too I wanted to mention. We are trying to switch over. It's in a glass bottle. We are trying to switch over as many products as we can into glass instead of plastic. Again, just for the environmental factor and the way plastic impacts the environment versus glass. And glass is much easier to recycle than the plastic. So anyways, so cleanser you would start with, and again, you just need a little bit. I do like 2 pumps out of here, and it covers my whole skin. It's good for all skin types. That's the nice thing I've noticed with ours as well too, is we don't have, dry skin or combination skin or oily skin. Is that once you use our products, your skin kind of balances out, because in my opinion, those are kind of like marketing tools. So we just have one skincare set, and it's good for all skin types. This is very gentle. The cleanser is very gentle, and it's not drying. I remember before, my cleanser would always really dry my face out. I'm like, where's my moisturizer? I got to put it on right away. Don't feel that way with this cleanser. It has rose flower, cucumber, pomegranate, and bearberry in it, all of which are very good for your skin. And yeah, like I said, it just has that nice kind of crisp, fresh feel afterwards. The next step would be the exfoliator. And some of the ingredients. We put this, the nice thing with this new packaging, is like we put the main ingredients right there on the front, so you can see what's in them as you're picking them up. And this one, I love the way this one smells too. Wish you guys we had smell of it. It smells so nice.
Could we see the ingredients list? Would you mind flipping it around so we can see?
The whole list? This is
If that's okay. Oh yeah, it's hard to read.
That's the
Oh
whole.
my gosh.
I can read them to you if you want.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I don't want to take up the whole time. I just wanted to see, kind of get an idea of what was what.
Okay. And yes, they're all, I mean, at the beginning, it's like aloe vera and some olive oil, and then, a couple other things. And then as you get down towards the bottom, the different essential oils that are in there and so on. The ones that we put on the front are just kind of like the main ingredients.
Okay.
Like the apricot and the pomegranate, and this one, they're apricot and pomegranate kernels, and that's going to be your exfoliants. For the exfoliator. And also, what I wanted to mention with the apricot and the pomegranate kernels is that it doesn't contain microbeads. Like a lot of exfoliators have microbeads in them, and I don't know if anyone has ever heard of them, but they're actually discovering how dangerous they are when they get put back in the water. So like after you rinse it off and it goes down into the drain, because we don't have the filtration system like in the water treatment plants to filter those out. So small animals are ingesting them. They're getting back into our drinking water as well. So just another nice thing about the company is that we're also very aware of how this affects the environment as well. So everything that you put back into the water is safe to put back into the water.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Yes, that's been really great. Okay, yes. So the exfoliator, like I said, very gentle. You can use it. It says it recommends use, every or 3 times a week. I have customers that use it like every other day. So depends. This one is nice because it can depend on how much you want or however you're feeling. If you're like, oh, I just want to use it today, because it's real gentle and it won't dry your skin out. Okay, and so then after the exfoliator, sorry, I'm moving my notes around, is the toner, and this is our old label, so I still have some toner left. And it's very nice toner. It has witch hazel in it, which is really good for your pores. And you just spritz it on a couple of times, either right after the cleanser or right after the exfoliator, depending on what you're doing that day. And the other nice thing that I wanted to mention about the toner is it's good for a couple other things as well. Like it's good for sunburn in the summertime. If you get sunburn, you can just spritz some of this on and it really helps clears it up. If you have small kids, this has been really good for like any type of diaper irritation. You just kind of, I've used it too, to just kind of spritz on, and it really helps balance things out that way. So a good multi-use product as well. So the next step would be your moisturizer. Here's the moisturizer, again, old label. And it's real lightweight and non-greasy. It is really good for your skin. And again, with this one too, just a little bit goes a long way. And a lot of the reason for that in our products is because we don't add a lot of water to things. Some of the reason why, like some other companies or whatever, if you notice you go through them very quickly, is because they add water to it. So that's what I like about this stuff too, because like I said, it lasts forever. So again, and this one you can use morning and night as well. Just a real light moisturizer, non-greasy. So that's that one. Then your next step would be eye cream. You can see it comes in this little tub like this. Another one of our glass ones. So that's really nice. And again, this one, I love the way this one smells as well. It has rose in it. And so smells, you just smell the rose when you open it. And it's, so I love that. And this one too lasts forever. I just dab a little bit on my fingers and then a little bit under each eye, and it covers it. And you're good there. It's really good for nourishing and regenerating the tissue around your eye. It's good for tired eyes or bags under your eyes. Very soothing. And this one you can use either morning and night or both. I like to use it both morning and night, and it really helps get rid of circles. And then the last step, again, if we were doing this at night, would be our night serum. And again, this is one of my favorites. One of my team members coined this as a fountain of youth. It has CoQ10 in it and also carrot oil, which is very good for just making that youthful skin. Yeah, non-oily again, so it won't clog your pores. And I love when I put this on at night, and then my skin in the morning just feels really amazing, just fresh and clean and soft. Yeah. Okay, so that was our skincare set. And you can buy that together. It comes together in a whole kit, or if you just want to buy each individual one separately as well. So you have both options to do that. Couple of other products that I wanted to show you kind of complement the skincare set. So the first one is hyaluronic acid. Again, old label here. This stuff lasts me forever too. Just a pump of this, and I can put it on my face and on my neck, and then any that I have left over, I'll rub on my hands as well. We produce hyaluronic acid and CoQ10, and the reason we age, or we have the signs of aging, is because as we get older, we produce less and less. So this is a really nice way to just put it back in your skin. And I admit, when this first came out about 2 years ago for us, I was like, oh, I don't need that. And but my teammates really, just try it. And I'm glad I did, because I was really impressed with this. Because, I kind of felt like, well, my skin is still youthful. I don't need it just now. But right away, I could feel everything, especially around like my jawline and so on, everything just kind of firming up. So it really helps to restore elasticity, and it helps reduce fine lines and wrinkles and so on. So again, this is one of my favorites.
Do you know what it's sourced from? Do you know what it comes from?
It's a plant-based hyaluronic acid. I can't remember the name of the plant off the top of my head, but that's something I could look up. But I do know it's plant-based.
Okay.
Okay. And then the other one I wanted to show you, and I think, Deborah, you mentioned this too, is the Moroccan argan oil. And again, this is the new label with this one. And again, this is another one of my favorites too. This is 100% argan oil. The ingredient says, it has a scientific name, and then argan organic argan kernel oil. That's all that's in here. So I really love this, and I will use this. I use this in place of my moisturizer. So in the morning, I use the hyaluronic acid, and so I cleanse, I do the toner, and then I put the hyaluronic acid on, and then I put the this on top of it, because you want to kind of keep the hyaluronic acid in. That's why you put the moisturizer on top, which I forgot to mention. So I'll put this on top, and again, same thing. Just need a pump and face, neck, and if I have a little extra, I put it on my hands. And one little story I wanted to tell about this is that since when I switched over and started using this on my face, I started to get carded, and I will still get carded on occasion, which is really fun because I'm 37. And every now and then, it's really funny. They'll look at you and they're like, "Can I see your ID?" And you're like, "Yes," and it just kind of makes me think. It's also good for you put it in your hair, and it'll help with frizzy and give you some shine. It's good for dry skin, especially if you have like dry elbows or knees or cuticles. So you don't just have to use this on your face. This is good for all over.
And I wanted to share, if it's okay, if I don't want to interrupt you, but I wanted to share that I have had that product, I think since last fall, and I actually mix a little drop in with my moisturizer,
Okay.
so that because where I live is like super dry, like so dry, and I live in like this old 100-year-old farmhouse. The air here is just like intensely dry. And so I put a little drop of that argan oil right into my moisturizer, and I put the moisturizer on my whole face, and I love it. And I just also want to say as a side note, like whatever Rebecca's doing is obviously really helping, because every single time I see her, she is just glowing and radiant. So I just like whatever you're doing, like I'm happy to learn about that, because you've just got an incredible, natural, healthy glow every single time I see you.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, like I really think it's the system here. It's the natural ingredients and taking those harmful chemicals out of stuff too. So I really love my skincare stuff. So, but thank you.
Absolutely.
And a great way to just kind of extend the argan oil too, just mixing it with your moisturizer too. So, yeah. Okay. I also wanted to. Okay, we have a couple minutes. One thing I always recommend, like if you are like, okay, I really want to switch over to these non-toxic products, I don't know where to start. One of the places I recommend to start is with our deodorant. And it's a deodorant and not an antiperspirant. And I do mention that because it's the antiperspirant ingredients and things that are causing the trouble. So yes, with an antiperspirant, you don't sweat, but our bodies are actually made to sweat. And they use aluminum in the antiperspirant. And what happens with the aluminum is that it doesn't get absorbed and just kind of, get processed and so on through the body. It stays. So it builds up and so on, and it will stay in your skin. So a lot of people ask me with this is, will you sweat? And yeah, you will sweat a little bit. A quick story about myself is that years and years ago, I would sweat so bad I needed the medical strength deodorant. And even with that, I would still be sweating. I would get just from daily activities, I would get just like little spots under my arms. If I was doing something more strenuous and working out, I mean, it was like drenched under there. And this is with the medical strength. And that's because, my body was compensating. And because sweat, it gets the toxins out, it cools us down. So, but now that I've switched over to this, I don't really sweat. Like day-to-day stuff, not really. And even I like to go for runs and so on. And same thing, before I come back from runs and just these big circles under my arms. And now I come back and just a little damp. And again, there's no stink to it. So you won't, like I said, you may get a little damp, but you won't smell. So that's one of the ones that I really recommend starting with. And this one has just a real light scent to it too. It has cocoa butter and peppermint in it, and they're very light. So not a lot of smell there, but it still covers up the wet stink as much. Yeah. So
Wow. Well, that's been quite an education, and I'm really extra happy to know about the things to avoid, because sometimes I'll flip something over and I'll be reading it and then I've got to go on Google to find out like what it all is, because I don't even know, like, like parabens, it could be natural, could be not. I don't know, and so I feel like that part of your talk today was really important and valuable, especially to me, because I feel like it's so easy for companies to sneak in those things like fragrance. Like, I had no idea that meant that they could just put whatever they wanted into the fragrance. And I can tell when I smell something like, this doesn't smell natural, so I know to put it back. But some things now are packaged up so tightly that you can't really tell. So I feel like that information was, so valuable to me. So thank you so much for sharing that, Becca. And now before I let you go, I want to let everybody know, first of all, if you do have any questions for Becca, we do have, if you don't mind staying a minute, you could drop some questions in the little comment box below. But also, if you're interested in connecting with Becca and the products, there is a link. If you just click on her name in the description where it says, I think it's Pure Wellness Workshop, click on her name. It'll take you right to her website. Becca, and you just have the one website, or is there another one? Is there anything else that people can contact you with?
I have the website.
Oh, did I lose you?
No, I'm here.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Okay.
There's the website, and you can contact me through the website. You can contact me through my email. It's real simple. It's just RebeccaKillen@gmail.com. One real quick thing I wanted to mention.
Wonderful. And that's also listed on the website. So if you just click the link, it'll take you straight there.
Okay. And real quick, I know we got to run, but I am.
Oh, no, it's okay.
Okay. For this month, what I'm doing is we have a party ID, and I'll give you that number, and we may want to write that down. I'm not sure if that one's listed somewhere. But for any orders this month, what I'm doing is called a mystery host party. And what that means is that any orders that get put in for this month, you automatically get entered to win all of the hostess rewards. So the party ID is 215493, and I can write that down maybe like under my little blurb or something in the event. And yeah, and like I said, then you'll automatically be entered for the mystery host party, and then you whoever wins gets the hostess rewards for the month, whatever we've collected. So that's it for me. Thank you again, Deborah, and yeah, and if, like we said, if anyone has any questions, you can contact me through the website or the email address.
Okay, wonderful.
Okay.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
We do not have another speaker scheduled for 10:30, so it's no problem. The time was not a pressure for right now.
Okay.
So, okay, wonderful. Well, thank you so much. And for just letting everybody know, if you have any questions, please drop them in the little box below or contact us through the website by clicking her name.
Okay.
All right. Well, thanks so much for coming today, Becca. I'm so glad you could join us, and thank you for sharing your pearls of wisdom.
Thank you.
All right. Well, you have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, so we have a little bit of a break in our day. We did not have a speaker scheduled for this particular time available to offer readings to everyone. I had planned to do that at 2:30 today, but because we've got a little break in the day and we don't have a presenter for this half hour, I would be happy to offer some readings to everyone. Also talk a little bit about, what I do and how I do it and all that fun stuff for everybody who is new to that. So like, as I said, I've been a psychic reader and energy healer for about 20 years now. It's going on 21 soon. I initially started my business as an energy healer, and that was kind of my dream, my goal, my mission. I felt really called and kind of awakened, to sharing healing work. So I began doing that, and after about a year or so of doing that, Spirit just sort of directed me in a whole new way that I didn't even know was coming. I really wanted to do energy healing work and had, been studying it and practicing it. And then suddenly, I had a greater call for offering readings. And that's where I've really spent most of my career. So I kind of tell people like my bread and butter is doing readings, and my dessert is doing the energy healing work and teaching classes and offering retreats and workshops and all that kind of fun stuff. So on all that, I feel like this has been my calling. During the time when I was beginning to kind of find my way, it actually came difficult experiences that I had in my life. A sort of like with many of us, through your greatest challenge will come your greatest reward. Well, the way my journey began, was pregnant with my second child, and I was being stalked. And it was just like the scary movies stalking. I had a friend of mine that lived with me, my sister lived with me, and it was like the most terrifying thing because this guy kept coming back to our house, and he was breaking into the windows, breaking into the doors. Like he was just like legit stalking us. And we had no idea who it was. We didn't know what all this was about. And so, the way that I kind of started my journey as an intuitive was to first try to find a way to keep my children safe. And was, he basically broke in so many times that my friend and my sister had to move out. So while I was in the hospital giving birth, to my second child, both of them moved out because obviously, no one can live with being stalked like that. And so they, my sister moved back home. My best friend moved, to, I don't remember where. But anyway, so I came home from the hospital, filed a report with the police department, and had nowhere to go. Being with two children and a single mom, I was now in this apartment by myself, and terrified, absolutely terrified. And I remember reaching out and calling the psychic 900 numbers, like, all the ones that were so popular back in the 90s. I remember calling one of those psychic numbers, trying to get an answer. Like, can you tell me, am I safe? Is he going to hurt me? Is he going to hurt my kids? And, I wasted however much money, talking to this woman and thinking like she did not have anything helpful to tell me. And so I had to find my answers myself. So it was basically get real psychic real quick. And so that's really what happened is I began, meditating. I began, practicing, listening like as fast and as hard as I could because I was in a desperate situation. And that's kind of where my journey began. And so I, started to learn to tune into spirit. I started to learn to pray and meditate and listen for messages, and all the things that I share with other people now, were actually born out of a really difficult and very challenging time in my life. And I was 23 years old, and I had two little kids in tow, and I needed to figure out, how to, tune into everything around me to keep them safe. And I did it. I figured it out. And so I navigated us through this very difficult time period by using my own intuition and my own psychic ability and reaching out to my guardian angels and guides and finding, what I needed to be able to get through that experience and be able to get through to the next, step of my journey with my children. And so real quick. So, and it did, it did save us. And we ended up saving up some money and moving and having a new life. But what came out of that experience was a deeper connection to spirit. I realized that no 900 number was going to help me. Nobody was going to be able to solve this problem for me. I had to figure it out myself. And through that journey, and hopefully no one else has to experience anything quite that intense, but it was through that intensity, through that intensity that brought me to being able to connect. It's like I had no other choice. You hear those stories about moms picking up cars because their babies are trapped under or something like that. I feel kind of like that was you do what you have to do in the moment. And that was kind of what burst open my own psychic ability. Now, I'm not going to say that I never had a connection to spirit or never had a connection to, psychic awareness before that, because, I did. I did do tarot card readings since I was like 18 years old. So I had like 5 years of experience. When I was a child, I could feel other people's pain and suffering. So I did have some intuitive awareness. I did have some connection to my own psychic ability during that time. But what I did not have it as intense or as detailed or as clear as what I developed during the time after I gave birth to my son. And so through that process, kind of came my greatest gift. And, I began my work as an energy healer. I expanded into doing more and more readings. And through the years, just, basically did whatever my heart called me to do and whatever I felt spirit was directing me to do. So I have taught other people how to read tarot cards. I have led workshops and retreats to help people, let go of their baggage, whether it's from this lifetime or other lifetimes. But I've really kind of spent my life sharing all that I can share from spirit. And so I feel like I'm answering my calling. I'm living my soul's purpose. My friend Tally coined a term, purposepreneur, which I feel like exactly describes it. Like for me and other people who are purpose driven and doing, living their calling and living their spiritual destiny or their spiritual connection. So that's kind of my story of how I got started. It sort of came from a really dark place, but it has taken me into the light. From that point, when I was 23, my career just sort of went through a lot of ups and downs and roller coasters and circles, and to the point where I finally realized, like as long as I'm living in accordance with my, divine plan and my divine connection, like I can trust the universe. The universe has got me. And I didn't always trust that. In fact, the beginning came from a whole lot of mistrust. And so I've spent my journey facing my fears and working through, my belief systems and shifting my own awareness and awakening. And that's why I put together events like this. Because when I was learning 20 some years ago and I was exploring my spiritual journey and trying to figure out what was what, I felt like like the resources were so hard for me to find. I might meet a person, I might find a book here or there, but I felt like it was such a challenging journey to be able to learn to meditate, to be able to learn to receive a message, to be able to find natural products, to understand my body, mind, spirit connection. Like it was so much work to find all my pieces, to put them all together. And that's why I love doing things like this. Like I feel like this kind of experience, having this whole day of all these different things to learn about, I feel like that is putting together for all of you all the things that I needed along the way, to make it in kind of an easier package, like a sampler platter for you to reach out and explore what it is you feel called to. to do, to kind of reach in and check out whatever it is that you are really interested in this. And, take the tools, take the resources, take the tips, take the techniques, take what works for you. And anything that you hear today that just doesn't resonate, that just doesn't vibe with you, let it go. Because, you're here to create your own journey. You're here to navigate your own path. And, we're all going to share with you everything we can to help you do that. And you just pick and choose what feels and vibes right for you. Okay? So that's a little bit about me and my journey. And I would love to offer some quick readings to anybody who is here and available to ask some questions. So just to let you all know, the way to post a question to me to get a reading is in the chat box just below this video. So just look down below the chat box, but above the class schedule for today, and post in there any question you might have. If you want me to do a message, if you need a reading on something, if there's some question that's been kind of burning in your mind, or if you just have a general question about, hey, Deborah, I'm on my spiritual journey right now and I'm trying to learn my way around. And what do you suggest for this or that? Okay, because I want to use this next 15 minutes or so before our next presenter. I want to use this time to give you guys some of what you need. So if you've got any questions and anything you want to know, please drop it in the box below and I will be happy to answer. Otherwise, what's going to happen is I'm just going to ramble on and tell you more psychic stories and share with you a little bit more about my journey. So, all right, well, until I get some questions, which I'm not seeing any popping in yet, I'm going to tell you some more stories about my life as a psychic. So basically, one of the things that I feel like I did early in my journey was to kind of understand the way you could connect to other people psychically. And for me, it was really natural because when I had two children by the point that I was beginning this journey. And what I found from like the love that I felt for my children, they call it mother's intuition, but I felt like the love that I had for my children helped me to wake up when they were up, helped me to catch their little heads before they banged them against the wall, helped me to, do all those things that mothers instinctively and intuitively do. And so, I feel like what I did was I practiced the mother's intuition that I already felt, and I just learned to apply that to the people that I was reading for. So basically, I would just practice loving them the way that I love my children so that I could see, feel, sense, and, intuit messages for them. So in the beginning of, my work was really putting myself in a space of unconditional love and acceptance for, because as a mom, that's why you're so tuned into your kids, because you love them, like your heart's wide open. And that's where we get our messages. It comes through our heart. And so when your heart is open and you love someone, it's kind of easy to feel things for them. It's easy to sense them. It's easy to feel them. And that's what I kind of practiced and taught myself to do, is to tune into other people and to love them, to open my heart unconditionally, accept them for who they are. And that put me in a spot where I could read for them better. Now, I'm going to tell you, not every single person who sat at the table with me was an easy person to love. Some people some people push my buttons, some people represent a part of reality that I'm not particularly fond of. I've had some people that, and I do my best to keep my heart open to be able to share whatever messages I can with them, but it sometimes has been an exercise for me. Sometimes it's been work, to try to love the person that I'm reading for. And I feel that if I can't open my heart and accept them, then it's better for me. because I don't feel if my judgment or my personal, issues are getting in the way. Like, for example, I once read for someone who I feel was financially scamming another person. And whatever their karmic stuff is about, I'm not here to judge all that. But I felt like I could not open my heart and really embrace this person because I didn't feel like, this was a good decision. And so it was best for us both, for this person to go and read with someone else because I didn't feel I could give, clarity without saying, like, are you kidding me? Like, what you're doing is so terrible. And maybe I was not the right person to deliver that message. So, in any case, I'm sharing all that with you because I feel like we all have a natural intuition inside of us. And for women, it may come natural, more naturally when you think about it as a mom. You think about, like, how do I feel about my kids and my connection with them, and where do I get my, like, tap into my intuition for my children, you know? And I mean, the same can be true for fathers too, like intuitively, when you're tuned into your kids, it's one step towards opening up that, instinctive, intuitive part of you. There's countless ways to do it. There's so many ways to open yourself up, but that was just the path that I chose and the one that worked for me. All right, so I'm going to check for some. Um, okay, we have a question. Thank you, Becca, for asking a question. So I've been thinking about trying my hand at tarot. How do you find a set that will work well with yourself? Oh, I love this question. I used to tell people, just to kind of, sort of feel your way through the store and, to pick up whatever deck that you wanted. But once I started teaching tarot, I started teaching intuitive tarot, which is what I do. I read intuitively. And so once I started teaching tarot reading, I kind of tell people now to go more with the imagery. And the reason for that is if you look at a deck and you enjoy the imagery and you feel like it really has a lot to say to you, I feel like that's going to help you interpret your messages so much better. Um, Initially, when I got my first deck of cards, I kind of bought it on a whim. I was out with a friend of mine who was shopping for his kids, and we went to a toy store. And in the toy store, they had a deck of cards, and I'd never heard of it before, but I bought it. I was 18 years old, 19, something like that. So I bought the deck, took it home, and started reading with it. And I memorized the little book, and I was like, trying to remember everything. And me being a shortcut kind of person, didn't really enjoy all the reading and memorization. So really what I did was I looked at how to look at the pictures to begin to, create a meaning from the card. So then instead of having to memorize all the cards, and try to, keep it all up here, that maybe I could use the imagery to help me understand what the card meant. Um, Sorry. So maybe I could use the imagery to help me understand what the card meant. And so using that, I basically started using the imagery to make a meaning for the card. And that became my way of reading. And so initially, my first deck, I didn't really enjoy the imagery too much. It was pretty violent, lots of swords stabbing all kinds of people and lots of bloody everything. And so it was kind of violent, but I did upgrade to a new deck about 10 years later, and I enjoyed the imagery from that. And since then, I have tried so many other decks. And so, in terms of doing, tarot, I feel like tarot cards is a great way to be able to confirm whatever messages you feel like you might be picking up. So you might sit down every day and wonder, okay, what does Spirit want to tell me? What do I need to know for the day? And basically to be able to share, those messages from Spirit. And then when you see it in full color in the card, I feel like it just gives you so much more clarity. like confirmation and clarity, which is a really helpful tool when you're learning to read. Even me, after 20 years, sometimes people will call me up and say, "Hey, Deborah, I don't want you to look at the cards. I just need you to tell me what you feel on this." And I'm like, you know what? I want the cards anyway because it gives me clarity and confirmation. So I still want to dig them out and I still want to look at them. And so I feel like if you enjoy the imagery in your deck and you're looking and you like the pictures, and they speak to you, sometimes and they're going to speak to you more easily if you like the imagery. So that's kind of my overall, I guess, response to it is, to try to find a deck that the images really speak to you, that you enjoy looking at them, and let's see if there's anything else I need to say about that. I feel like that can be the most useful way. In fact, I could probably even spend the next 5 minutes teaching you the technique that I do really quick. So let me grab my cards out super quick. Um, okay, so one of the things you can do, and this is what I teach in my class, so you're going to get the whole hour and a half lesson in like 5 minutes or less. So basically what I do is, we teach and we practice and we do a lot more. But the gist of intuitive tarot is to first choose whatever mixing method you want to do. And then when you pick out your card, like I'm going to show you this one. Let's see, there we go. What you're going to do is you're going to look at the card and see what is the first thing that you notice. And then you kind of just, jot that down like, oh, I noticed this person. I noticed the dragon next to them. I noticed the tree. I noticed the light. Just whatever you notice about the card. So you're going to write down everything you notice about it and how you feel or what it reminds you of or what it makes you think about. And so, for example, you might see person playing a flute sitting around a dragon. And then what does playing a flute make you think about? How does it make you feel? And using that technique, you can begin to create a meaning for this card. Now, my meanings change from reading to reading to reading because it's based on what I feel in the moment. So in this particular moment, I might look at this card and I might, be really drawn to the person playing the flute. Another time I might be more drawn to the dragon. Another time I might be more drawn to whatever these little rock figures are here at the bottom. It's really based on, like, each card is going to mean something different based on what I feel in that moment. And that's where your intuition really kicks in. It's Rachel. Sorry about that. My computer decided to overheat again, and I totally wasn't prepared.
Well, sorry. Well, I'm here. I'm ready when you are.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'm just going to double check and make sure everything is streaming properly on the blog. So before we get started, I want to make sure everything is just. Oh. All right, perfect. Everything is all back to streaming again, so that's awesome. All right, well, thank you so much for joining us. And I wanted to first introduce Rachel because she is just such a dear, dear, dear person in my life. And I've known Rachel for, gosh, I don't even know how many years it's been now. But we've known each other for many years. And Rachel has been a constant source of knowledge and information for me on my journey. And so I'm really excited for her to be here today to be able to share with all of you too. So thanks for being here, Rachel. And if you want to, do you mind introducing yourself and talking a little bit about what you're going to be talking about today?
Absolutely. So as Deborah said, my name is Rachel Warnock. I am schooled in Ayurveda, which is herbal medicine from India. I'm the lead herbalist at a company called Vedic Botanicals, where I mix herbs for body and skincare products. But what I'm going to be talking to you about today is cleansing and detoxing. Those are really big words in the wellness community. There's a lot of marketing, a lot of, in many ways, smoke and mirrors kind of around those words. So I want to dissect them a little bit and help you to understand how to construct a really solid cleanse or detox for you, whether you're going to do one now or at another point in time in your life, giving you the knowledge that you need to kind of understand and build a cleanse a little bit to help to what your lifestyle is and what your needs are as a human. So I'm going to be taking an Ayurvedic approach, of course. I've got some studies to share with you today, and we're going to be talking about some of the nuts and bolts of how this works and what happens. So let's get started. As I said, Ayurveda is herbal medicine from India. It's 5,000 years old, system of diets, herbs, cleansing, and lifestyle tips so that you can live harmoniously with nature and have a really strong immune system. And Ayurveda recommends that you do a cleanse at the turn of every season. So you're doing 4 cleanses a year, ideally, in an ideal world. However, the 2 most important are your spring and your fall. And of those 2, the grand mummy of all cleanses is the spring cleanse. So spring is the most important time to do a cleanse in Ayurveda. If you're only going to do 1 a year, the spring cleanse is the cleanse that you should do. And the reason why this is well, Ayurveda is based on the elements: earth, air, fire, water, space. Spring is the season of earth. Earth is most closely tied to your physical body. When earth is in balance, when earth is doing so well, the earth element inside of you, you are vital, you are energetic, you are youthful, and you're strong. Your immune system is functioning at top shelf capacity. You just got everything together. But when earth is out of balance, it gums up the system. Think about sticky tree sap and how that sticks to things and gets everywhere, and it's like having that inside of you kind of gumming things up. And this is where we're going to start talking about some terms. So in the traditional Sanskrit, that's called ama. And it's very, very loosely translated as toxins into English, but that is a word that can be interpreted in so many different ways. So just looking at ama right now, ama in Ayurveda is what gums up your system, and it's why you should cleanse, is to clear ama from your system. Now in the text, there can be spiritual ama, which takes away your zest and your joie de vivre. There can be mental ama, which kind of causes depression, anxiety, and just a lack of happiness in life. But physical ama is kind of what we're going to be talking about today, because that's in the body. Now, ama is defined as food that does not get fully broken down, digested, and absorbed into your body. and that just kind of sits there and gums up, kind of like sludge, like bile, things that just depress your system, your internal system. But in our modern American world, where we have so many things that we're exposed to, according to the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, there are about 212 different chemicals found in people's blood and urine, Americans' blood and urine, 75 of which have previously never before been measured in the US population. These can include things like arsenic and heavy metals, environmental phenols found in plastics and food packaging. They can be herbicides and pesticides sprayed on your food. They can be volatile organic compounds found in paints, paint strippers, car air fresheners, anything like that. So no matter how clean you're living, you are at some degree exposed to these things. And the good news is that your body can handle so many toxins, so many things can build up in your body, and it won't kill you. So the good thing is that it's really hard for all these toxins to kill you. But they do have a cumulative effect on your health. And this is where I want to turn to one of my first studies, because this is done by one of my absolute favorite scientists. His name is Dr. Jack Heinemann. And he likes to do in his research, he likes to look at what humans will normally encounter. So when a chemical company like Dow or Monsanto is looking at releasing a new chemical, new herbicide into the market, they'll first test it, and they test it for toxicity levels. And usually this is done on dogs or chimpanzees, where they will expose the animal to as much of the chemical as possible, and they'll figure out how much is a lethal exposure. So like the animal dies when exposed to this many units of the chemical, and then they'll sell it at this many units of exposure. So it won't kill you, it won't kill humans. But what Dr. Jack Heinemann has done is he's looked at what does sublethal, down here, chronic exposure to these chemicals do on the human microbiome. Now, your body is more bacteria than anything else. And let's see, I think I have his study right here. Yes, okay. So he looked at some very common herbicides and what does sublethal chronic exposure to these amounts due to the human microbiome. Well, he found that it had changes to antibiotic susceptibility and immunity, so how your body is immune to bacteria. And he found that it had a negative effect on your immune system. So that, not good news on that point. And this is why it can be helpful to do a cleanse. Now, how does a cleanse help me get rid of all these toxins in my body? Whew, that is a really heavy question. And there's so much information out there around these things. So before we kind of, there's juice fasting, there's panchakarma, there's what Gwyneth Paltrow says that she does. And so let's understand toxins and how they work in your body a little bit. You have endogenous toxins that are products of your metabolism, and those can be things like bile, urea, feces, things that your body naturally produces. But more about what we're talking about today, the exogenous toxins, and those are chemicals or molecules that are foreign to the human biological system. And those can be, of course, things like heavy metals, environmental contaminants, allergens count as toxins in Ayurveda, like according, like histamines and things like that would fall under the category of ama. And other components that are formed when foods are baked or fried at very high temperatures, they have a maladaptive effect on your immune system, on your body, and your body's ability to function. So when we are talking about cleansing, that's such a broad term. When you exercise and you sweat, you're cleansing and you're detoxing. When you drink alkaline juices and green juices, you're helping your body to detox. When you eat a clean diet with not very many fats, with very few processed foods or no processed foods, when you're eating a lot of greens and organic vegetables and fruits and not really meats, which are processed and inflammatory. They're non-alkaline, alkaline meaning anti-inflammatory in this context. And of course, meats are often treated with antibiotics and other things like that, just in the process of raising the animal before slaughter. So heavy on the greens, heavy on the vegetables, heavy on the fruits and the organic grains, whole food diet, things like that. You're helping your body to stay fairly clean. Your body has a great natural detox system. And by keeping on with diets like that, you're helping your body to function at its highest capacity. But what you're getting to in that specific context is called a hydrophilic toxin. Hydrophilic toxin loves water. So it's the easiest kind of toxin for your body to cleanse itself of naturally. Comes out in sweat, comes out in urine, your liver, your kidneys, your lymphatic system, most able to detoxify itself from hydrophilic toxins. And those are things that you can do kind of like in your daily life. If you're drinking juices on spirulina or wheatgrass, helping to detoxify you in that capacity. Teas with sarsaparilla, with dandelion root, with burdock, red clover, I love. There's a common Ayurvedic herbal compound called triphala, and it's the 3 fruits, and that helps to continuously keep your system detoxing and moving and flowing properly. Triphala is something that I love, honestly, and if you're going to take one thing, triphala is the thing that is great to take. But more importantly, let's talk about lipophilic toxins, because those little guys are the hard ones to tackle. Lipophilic means loves fat, loves lipids. And I don't care who you are or what your body looks like, you have fat cells. Your brain is 2/3 fat. You need fat, you need healthy fats in your body to survive and to function. And what lipophilic toxins do is they latch onto the fat cells in your body and they just kind of embed themselves there. And unfortunately, the lipophilic toxins are the ones that are also the ones that are more likely to disrupt your endocrine system. They're more likely to have an adverse effect on your body over time as they build up in your system. And these are the things that are like DDT, glyphosate, PCBs, things that are banned, but still in our environments, and we're still collecting them in our biology. They come in through food, come in through air, all sorts of things. So the lipophilic toxins are the ones that are the most difficult to get rid of. And typically, in order to effectively cleanse your body of a lipophilic toxin, you have to introduce another lipid. And this is where Ayurveda excels, because Ayurvedic cleanses are based on introduction of lipids. Often there's the use of ghee or sesame oil, herbalized enemas, herbalized ghees, or just herbal compounds that use herbs that have a high natural lipid content. And they're introduced into your body to get that lipophilic toxin to kind of like relax its grip on that fat cell in your body. And so it switches from latching on to the myelin sheath in your brain, which is all fat, and it grabs onto the ghee or to the sesame oil or into the lipid that's native to the ashwagandha root or the shatavari or whatever compound it is that you're taking. And now it's free floating. It's just latched onto this thing. So in an Ayurvedic cleanse, it breaks down into 3 stages. The first stage is the oleation stage, where you're taking a ghee, which is a clarified butter, or a sesame oil, or an herbal compound, and you're taking those things orally, and you're loosening all these toxins in your body. And you take it for a certain number of days. You'll set that up with your practitioner. But you take that for a certain number of days, and then you take a laxative. And that's not necessarily to cleanse your colon. It's to take all these things that have been loosened up in your body and just flush them out of your system. During this process, you're following a lighter diet. You're not having processed foods. You're not having meats. You're not having things that are sticky and difficult to digest, like gluten or dairy, that just tend to gum up your system generally, and they don't get broken down very easily. So you're following, for the duration of this cleanse, something of a vegan whole foods diet. And whether if that's your normal diet, fantastic, not much of a change for you. If it's not your normal diet, you're just doing it for a short period of time. So think of it as an investment for your body. And then after the purgation phase, you have a recovery phase. And this is just 3 days after your cleanse to kind of slowly return to your normal diet. So if a vegan whole food diet isn't your normal diet, we're just making sure that you don't have this great cleanse and then go off and eat something very heavy that's going to have an adverse effect on your body. You kind of want to slowly return to your normal diet if there's especially if there's a very large difference between the diet that you're on for the cleanse and your normal diet. And now this is kind of like the standard Ayurvedic cleanse. Ayurveda also has something called Panchakarma, translates to 5 actions. Pancha, 5, karma, action, and it's a very intense system of detoxing. There are some great studies that have been done about it, not too many, of course, but there are some really good ones, and one that I really want to point out to you right now was done by 2 gentlemen named Harren and Fagan. And let's see, this is right here. So what they did was they actually measured lipophilic toxins in human blood levels before and after Panchakarma procedures. They controlled for age. They did they had a control group versus the Panchakarma group. It was a very thoroughly done study. It was published in Alternative Therapies magazine in 2002. But what they found, I think there's some graphs here at the bottom. Yes, great. What they found was that after Panchakarma, the levels of lipophilic toxins that they were measuring fell by just under 50%. So in what other space can you reduce your lipophilic toxins in your blood by just shy of 50% in about a week? So that's the power of Panchakarma right there. And the cleanse that I kind of described to you is a precursor to Panchakarma. You'll do one of those cleanses before you do Panchakarma, and those are great seasonal cleanses to kind of keep yourself going, especially because Panchakarma is very intense and it can get very pricey, especially if you're doing it here in the States and not in India. That was a whole bunch of information. But we covered everything I really set out to cover. We talked about juice fasts. Fasting. Actually, let's talk about fasting real quick. So Ayurveda is not super big on fasting. Only people who have large amounts of earth element in them, who have a lot of kapha, are recommended to fast. And even then, they're only fasting for 1, maybe 2 days at a time. People who have a lot of the fire element or who have a lot of the air element aren't recommended to fast because a lack of food can upset the elements in their body. It can really aggravate them. You hear the term hangry. When people have a lot of vata or pitta in them, fire and air, and they're fasting, they get real hangry real easily. So only people who have a lot of kapha, a lot of earth element are recommended to cleanse, to fast. And even then, you're still having liquids, you're still having the juices. The only other instance where Ayurveda recommends fasting is if it's in a very spiritual context. And in that context, you're on a retreat, you're meditating, you have a very low you have a much lower than average caloric expenditure that's necessary. So you don't need as much food. But you're definitely not in an environment where you're going to work, you're taking kids to practice, you're cleaning your house, you're doing your general normal busy American life. You're up in the mountains somewhere and you don't need the same amount of calories. And even if you're fasting, they're drinking certain juices, they're drinking certain things that allow them to kind of keep going, experiencing meditation, experiencing these higher states of consciousness, but not depriving themselves of nutrients. So your Gwyneth Paltrow juice fast isn't the same thing as what the traditional Ayurvedic or even in Chinese medicine fasting procedure is. So I don't want to shy you away from something like the juice fast or the master cleanse, but I do want to tell you that it's there's not as much evidence to support those systems of cleansing, and fasting can be very difficult to certain physiologies. And so don't feel that you need to take that kind of thing on unless that kind of thing feels right to you in your cleansing journey. There are other kinds of cleanses in Ayurveda. You're never going hungry. You're always eating. You're eating light, but you're never going hungry. And so I guess that's my stance on fasting and the evidence surrounding that one. And with all that, I hope that this last 25 minutes has been really helpful to you in understanding some of the words and some of the marketing surrounding cleanses and detoxing, how your body does it naturally and how you can support your body in doing it naturally. And I guess we'll take the last 5 minutes for questions if there are any.
Well, thank you so much, Rachel. I'm having a little bit of technical trouble on my end ever since I got, kind of dropped just before you came in.
Sure.
So, but everybody who's viewing said that they're able to view just fine.
Great.
So I've gotten feedback that everybody's seeing this live stream just fine. I'm the only one who's having trouble seeing it. But I did drop a little note in the chat box so to let everybody know if you are viewing this video actively and you have a question for Rachel, please drop it in the chat box below. Actually, no one can see me. Just a second. Okay, there we go. Please drop it in the chat box below so that way I can read those questions and I can relay them to Rachel so she can answer them for you before she leaves today. So we've got about 5 minutes left. I see we do have some people watching. So if you've got any questions, please drop them in the box. And meanwhile, I will ask some questions myself. Now, I noticed, Rachel, that you talked about let's see, there we go. Now it's going to bounce back and forth between us. Okay, I noticed that you talked a lot about, like constantly eating. And I personally have done fasting in the past and really loved it. But at this stage of my life, I find that it's like really a challenge for me to fast. It's even a challenge for me to modulate sometimes what I'm eating. Do you have any tips for those of us who struggle with, making proper food choices? Do you have any tips for any of us who might be struggling with doing a detox?
Yeah, sure. Let's talk about this. So specifically for you personally, Deborah, you're one of those individuals who has a lot of that wonderful earth element. It's part of what makes you so, it's, the word in Sanskrit is ojas. But it's vital. It's the goodness of life. So it's part of what makes you and just so pleasant and wonderful as an individual, is that earth element. But our bodies change throughout life, as you alluded to. And so what was possible for us when we were 20 isn't always necessarily possible for us when we're 40. And so one of the things that you can, if you're trying to do a fast, but it's very difficult for you, some of the things that I would recommend that are a little bit more satisfying to the body, vegetable broth is nice. It's a good supplement. It gives you a little bit more nutrients. It's not super full of sugar like a juice is, so it won't spike your blood sugar, and it helps to satiate you. The other one is dal. Ayurveda and Indian cooking, of course, favors dal heavily. And there's this dal that we would make at the ashram called paisam. And when you look at paisam online, it's Payasam or SUM. And it's often given as a dessert in India, but when you make it with yellow dal, so you have some sugar, you have some dal, you have some coconut milk. A lot of times there are some herbs sprinkled in. It's deeply satiating to the body. So it's got good protein in it, good nutrients from the dal, gives you some sugar, so you're not getting low blood sugar. And it was given at the ashram. We took it quite frequently to sustain ourselves while we were having these very intense meditative experiences. So if you're not, I don't want to recommend that in an instance where you're kind of going out into the world and having to work and having to like run your children around. But if you have some dedicated time, if you're on a retreat, or if you're taking kind of a weekend to go in and you want to do a fast while you're on this meditation, but you're having trouble with meditation, I would recommend dals. I would recommend vegetable broth, and I would recommend a dal paisam. It's really satisfying to the body and just so nourishing to the nervous system. So that's one of my favorites.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for that. I feel like that will be really helpful to me, because I feel like if I maybe make a big pot of something and then I can just kind of go to that,
Yeah.
so I don't have to worry about, okay, what am I going to prepare for this next meal? Because some cleanses and some detoxes are so complicated. Like, I just read the instructions and I'm like, oh my God, there's no way I have time for all this food preparation. And, like, I need something kind of easy to go to. So I love that suggestion, because I feel like I can make a big pot of it and maybe just kind of eat from it throughout the day, a little bit at a time.
It's definitely
that way.
Do that way, and it's very, very satisfying. It's a very heavy food, so honestly, we would have like just a little 8-ounce cup of it at a time, and it would
Okay.
for a couple.
All right, that sounds perfect.
And when I put together cleanses for my clients, one of the big things that I try to take it from is what fits into their lifestyle. So whenever I do a personalized cleanse for people, it's what fits for you. What are you realistically going to be able to do? And then I kind of work with my clients that way and guide them through holding their hand, which is a lot of fun. So.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, do you mind taking one quick question? Is that okay too? I see Jenna's on, and I think a question might just take another minute or so, but we did have a question come in. It's from Becca, and she said, would switching to a vegetarian/vegan diet for daily life help with decreasing toxins more regularly?
Yes. There's a considerable amount of evidence to support this. If you want to check out a YouTuber named Mike the Vegan, he's got numerous videos surrounding this, and his videos are very heavy on the science. So there's a lot of evidence to support. He'll kind of walk you through it in better detail than I can, especially in this time. But vegetables are alkaline. If you're looking at an alkaline diet, alkaline is anti-inflammatory. It keeps your body functioning better. There are no animal products that are alkaline. All the products that are alkaline are vegetables. The only thing to warn you about is that vegetables, look at the clean 15 and the dirty dozen. The dirty dozen, leafy greens, fruits like blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, they get some of the harshest chemicals sprayed on them. And so those are ones that you should be specifically choosing organic for. But I highly recommend vegetarian, vegan diets to all my clients. It solves so many problems in the human physiology. Or even if you're 80% vegan, vegetarian, 90% vegan, vegetarian, supplementing here and there with some fish or chicken, that it can go loads, it can go miles in helping your body to function at a higher capacity, longer throughout life, combating aging, combating the accumulation of toxins in your body. I cannot speak enough for that. So absolutely, I would highly recommend it.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing, Rachel.
Absolutely.
And now, just to let everybody know, you got, first of all, so much information to share. So, and I know that we probably fit you in just a tiny little time slot. But if anybody is interested in setting up some time to talk with Rachel, you can schedule. She does create detoxes. You know, you create personalized detoxes for people, right?
Yes.
And so we've got that service available at on our website at meetourproviders.com. So if you go to just www.meetourproviders.com, you can find Rachel there. You can also find her business and her product line at Vedic Botanicals. Is that could you spell that for us? And is it .com?
Yes. The company name is Vedic Botanicals. The website is Your Vedic Botanicals. Veda, VEDIC, and then botanicals, because we're based in Veda, Ayurveda. But always happy to answer questions. You can shoot me questions here at the Healing Community or through one of my web channels. And thank you, Deborah, so much for the time to talk today. It was really wonderful to share all the information, and I hope the audience gained some good insights.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm sure they did. I know I certainly did. And for anybody who's watching who just tuned in recently and you're like, oh my God, I just missed this awesome talk on detoxing and cleansing. This is all recorded and we are going to keep this live. We're going to keep this available for everybody right here on the same page. So just bookmark it and come back and you'll be able to see the 6-hour live stream all at once. Or you'll be able to choose each individual person so you can just watch each piece at a time. So if you missed it, come on back and you'll be able to check it out sometime later. All right, thanks so much, Rachel.
Thanks,
Enjoy
Deborah.
the rest of your day. I'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good.
Okay, so for the next part of our day, and now when I got booted out a little while ago, I kind of lost some of my controls. So things are a little blotchy on my end. I hope it's still coming through smoothly. For anybody who's watching, if you're seeing some kind of interference on the line or seeing any static or anything like that, please drop me a note because that's kind of the only way for me to know. I can't really watch at the same time that that we're streaming. So if you're seeing some static or things are not flowing well on your end, please drop me a little note and say, hey, Deborah, you're kind of choppy, you're coming in and out, we're not able to see your speaker, like whatever. Okay, so for our next segment, I am excited to introduce my friend Jenna Steep, who is going to be talking about embracing your cycle. Now, I know that a lot of people, a lot of women that I talk to, often complain least favorite part of their life. And so Jenna is here today to be able to share with us how we can embrace it and how we can learn to love this part of us. So thank you, Jenna. Welcome.
Thank you. Let's see. Can anyone see me? Can you see me? I'm not sure.
I can see you. Yes,
Okay,
I
good.
can see you. Are you not showing up on your own screen?
I am now. I wasn't before, and I couldn't quite figure out what I was doing, but I think we've got it.
Okay.
So thank you for hosting this. I'm excited to be here. I also love that I'm following Rachel because that was awesome, especially for women. What a wonderful way to go deeper into our own relationship with our bodies. I have a different perspective on cleanses personally, and I still absolutely see so much value in food as medicine. That's actually a little bit of what I wanted to talk about as well, as we get into the way that our cycle kind of talks to us. Our cycle is telling us things all the time, and we can respond to what our cycle has to say to us through working with food and herbs and different meditations. Actually, it's really kind of magical. Okay, so the first thing that I wanted to talk about was just briefly, there's like a whole world to talk about with your cycle, and maybe the best place to start is reframing your understanding of it or reimagining our relationship with it. I do want to say before we begin that this information is actually relevant for you, whether you're menstruating or not. All women have cycles. Men do as well. They're a little bit different, and I'm not nearly as proficient in the endocrinology of a man's hormonal cycle as I am with a woman at this point in my life. And it's still relevant. especially for women who are no longer menstruating or for whatever reason have menses or missing menses, anything like that. This is still really important information. Your body still moves cyclically, and by beginning to attune yourself to these cycles and these rhythms and learning to notice the correlation between the moon in the sky and your own inner moon can actually help to bring those imbalances harmony within your body. Working with a Vedic healer such as Rachel, or working else who specializes in this sort of thing, can also be really helpful. And just through awareness, just through noticing what's going on with your cycle, what it has to say to you, you can really change a lot. Okay. So the biggest thing that I wanted to talk about today is the correlation between our monthly cycle, which is a whole cycle, right? Like it's through all the whole month. It's not just when we're bleeding. There are 4 different phases, or 4 main phases of our monthly cycle that a woman goes through. First of all, we of course think of the menstrual phase, which is when we're actively bleeding. This is the time that we learn the most about our bodies. This is the time when our bodies are speaking most clearly and vibrantly. Maybe not vibrantly, because I know so many women who have trouble with this time. And when you experience cramping or heaviness or clotting, anything like that, that's actually your body talking to you about hormonal imbalances. It also is talking to you about ways that you can kind of course correct throughout the month. So if there's one thing that I can give you to take away into your life as you go on into the rest of your cycle, it is reframing your understanding of your menstrual cycle and thinking of it as a way that your body communicates with you. It's a process, it's a practice, learning to read what it's saying to you, and it is so rich with wisdom. It's got so much information. I mean, I can tell you after 4 years of working in this way with my moon cycle, it has absolutely transformed. You know, for me personally, I still struggle with it sometimes, and it's made a world of difference. So the menstrual cycle, or the menstrual phase of our monthly cycle, correlates to the season of winter in the year. So if you can think about your monthly cycle broken up into seasons, you'll actually notice, if you think about it, in your time, most often people want to draw inward. That doesn't mean that they're always able to do that. And women to like curl up in a ball and watch Netflix, or maybe just have a hot water bottle pressed to their belly, and you're not really interested in like going out and getting drunk or going out and partying or anything like that. That's not the time for that. In the same way, the winter, if you think about that, the winter season is the time to draw inward. You spend a lot more time indoors. You spend a lot more time generally in your own house. And then after that, as we're noticing in a couple of days, we've got the equinox coming up. After you complete that inward winter phase of your cycle, you come to the springtime, which is the rebirth and the renewal. So our inner spring correlates to just the same way as the energy of our outward spring, which is manifesting in our world right now. It's this renewal energy. I want to invite you to think about the last time you menstruated and notice, or just kind of think how you felt afterwards. I don't think I know a single woman who has not said they feel clearer afterwards. It doesn't necessarily mean they feel amazing. There's still work to be done. And just by completing the menstruation phase, you are reborn. It actually is a new beginning for you. So beginning to shift your thinking from like, oh, dread, it's coming, to like, oh, I get to learn about my body this week. And then the next week, I know I'm going to feel amazing. So the season of spring throughout your individual cycle is a wonderful time to anchor new dreams, new visions for your life, and to start working on projects. It's also a really good time to engage outside. Your energy levels are naturally higher. Your estrogen, well, actually, all of your hormones are actually at their lowest point, which is relevant as we kind of continue on through the cycle, learning about it. When your hormones are at their lowest point, you actually feel really good. So this is a good time to go out. This is a good time to make appointments if you need to like go see the doctor, or if you have to like, you know, have after work meetings, that sort of thing. This is a wonderful time of the month to do it. Then we come on into summer after that, which, as you can maybe start to see in the inner time, this correlates to your follicular phase, or it also is the waxing moon, if you think about it as it relates to the moon. I know I'm throwing like a whole lot of information out here, and it's good. And it might take a little while for this to all integrate, and it's wonderful information to work with. So the springtime is this, it's called your follicular phase. It's when your body is beginning to like activate these eggs in your body. Your ovaries are picking out which eggs are the perfect ones to, you know, maybe have a baby this time. And then when you come in to your ovulatory phase, this correlates to the full moon in the sky. You might notice during your individual ovulatory phase that you are a lot more wide awake. You are naturally more active. You may find yourself like wanting to go on a really long run and you're not a runner, or you might find yourself thinking it's a great idea to sign up for like a boot camp, something like that. And this is a really good time. Again, maybe this is actually considered the most outward time. Again, this is our inner summer. So if we think about summertime, that's time to be out and about and staying up and partying and, you know, having all the fun. Not that winter is fun, but you know what I mean. So summertime, or our ovulation time, is the best time to go on new dates. So if you're single and looking to mingle, this is a wonderful time in your cycle. You actually are, hormonally speaking, you're actually excreting hormones that are to attract a mate. I know that sounds kind of weird, and there's like a whole world of thought about that, but it's fascinating to think about the way that our bodies work, right? Like they're miraculous, and they're always working for us. So in the summertime, or in your inner summer, which again is what, as you ovulate, you are feeling very outward, you're feeling very grounded. This is a wonderful time to work with the earth element. As you're ovulating, it can be a really beautiful practice to like tend to some plants, work in the garden, learn to understand the way your body is a reflection of the earth, and the earth is a reflection of your body. We're all one at the end of the day. So continuing on, we come around now to fall, our inner fall, which corresponds with the luteal phase. It's an interesting thing to add here, and this is outside of the scope of this current presentation, and I could talk for a really long time about the pill. The problem with the pill or any sort of artificial birth control is it's artificial hormones that actually keep you from ovulating. So you do not flow through the cycles. You do not flow through the cycles in the same way that you do naturally. You're actually forever in this luteal phase. It keeps you in this luteal phase. I can go, again, this is like outside the scope of this. I could go much deeper into the hormone and endocrinology of all of what happens when you're on the pill. But sort of off topic, but I wanted to throw that in there because our luteal phase is when our progesterone is highest. If you think of estrogen as like the sexy hormone, your estrogen is highest when you're ovulating. So in your summer, progesterone, which is kind of like the mother hormone, you can think of it as, is most active and at the highest levels during your luteal phase. So you may find, as you start to observe your own rhythms, that your personal luteal phase or your inner fall time each month is when you feel really inspired to like deep clean your refrigerator, or clean the baseboards of your entire house, or finally clean out that basement that you've been avoiding for 2 years, or something like that. This is a time that we want to nest. It's a time that we want to start to go inwards. So if you think about this, I started with the menstrual phase, which is very much an inward phase. And when you move into your inner spring, or again, that follicular phase, this is the outward, and you're kind of moving out in the follicular until the ovulatory phase. And then after ovulation, it's back inwards. This exactly corresponds to the way the moon waxes and wanes in the sky. So if you think about the way just yesterday we had the new moon, there's no moon in the sky right now. We're, coming up to a full moon. We're working towards a full moon, and we're waxing to a full moon. Once we get to there, that's our ovulation time. That's our time to shine and express and be outward. And then afterwards, we begin to crawl back inwards, or curl back into ourselves, and reassess our inner emotions, reassess where we're feeling tired or how we need to readjust our schedule. Again, the luteal phase is really a preparation phase in preparation for your menstrual phase. Each one of them is important. Each one of them holds tremendous value. And as someone who has, like I said earlier, spent years learning to flow through these cycles and kind of waxing and waning of my own body, it just keeps going deeper and deeper. It's really rich, and really, I love this path, and I love this way of learning about our own bodies, because there's nobody outside you who knows you better than you do. And the more you can tune into your cycle, the better you get to know yourself. These things hold true, like these, inner and outer cycles, these following through the seasons of each month and each element. These do hold true for every human. And they're going to manifest a little bit differently in each one of us. It is up to us individually to create the space for our own selves to examine and explore and open into what our cycles has to teach us. This is our cycles, or our bodies talking to us. I think I could go on for a long time about it, and I really believe that it's one of the most powerful ways to reclaim your own personal power, to return to the feminine, to anchor the way of softness in your life. And it gets easier. So, yeah, it looks like we have like 10 minutes left. That was a lot of information I just threw at you. Are there any questions? I'm happy to answer any.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
And thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jenna. I did let everybody know that if you have any questions for Jenna, if you would like to, know a little bit more, if you have questions about your own cycle, if you could please drop them in the comment box below this video. That way I can relay them to Jenna so she can, answer and help you with whatever questions you might have. All right, so for myself, Jenna, hard to remember because my cycle stopped so long ago, and I did get the information that you sent out. Okay, hold on, we do have a comment. So it might not be a question, but I'm going to read the comment to you. Just want to say, right on, Jenna, so much good, valuable information. Being in tune with your cycle is such an underrated aspect of life, such an opportunity to learn about the status of your body, and of course, a great time to cleanse and renew. So everybody's cheering you on, loves your information.
Thank you, Rachel.
All right, and okay, so doesn't look like anybody has any questions currently. So I'll just remind everybody, because I know we have a little bit of a delay between what we record and what they see. So there's just a slight, like a 1-minute delay between. So just remind everybody again, drop your messages in the comments below, and that way I can direct them and share them with Jenna. So I'm excited for you to be here today, Jenna, and I'm I feel like I, just in talking to you, feel like I touch more into the divine feminine just in being around you and in talking with you. I feel like it's such a, like you're so entrenched in the divine feminine that it's like it like rubs off on me while we're talking. So I just want to say thank you so much for being here today, and for sharing, because I feel like when when I did flow, when I did have a cycle, I felt like I embraced it wholeheartedly because I feel like what it does is it cleanses your body, it cleanses your spirit, it cleanses your emotions. So sure, indeed, I was going to be more emotional during that time of cleansing, of course. But what better way to sort of clean house, body, mind, and spirit, than to embrace and allow, myself to flow fully and clearly and openly. And I remember I would do like exercises to be able to release whatever blocked energy would be in my uterus or in my hips. And I would, I'd move my hips. I actually studied belly dancing for a little while so that I could, learn how to really embrace the divine feminine. And over the years, different things have happened in my life, and I may not vibrate that energy the same way anymore. But I do remember feeling like, okay, here it is, let it flow. And I remember feeling the release. And as you embrace it, like when I first got my period as a teenager and as a young adult, I had a lot of cramps and I was like miserable. And I would think like, oh my God, like I've got all these cramps. I feel terrible. Like this is a curse. But as I learned to embrace it, it changed and my cramps went away. And whatever little cramps I might have had, when I did the exercises and the release work, it's like it all just, dissolved. It all just went away and it just made me feel, so much better. Do you have any tips or tools or techniques that you use or that you might want to share with others that could maybe help them, if they are feeling blocked or they're having, like tension in that area of their body? Is there anything I mean, I know you do yoga, but is there anything that you might be able to share with people?
Yeah, there's a lot to share. The first thing I want to say is, if you experience pain during your menstruation, no, you don't have to. Yes, you can work through that, and it is your body talking to you. The most important thing is to learn what it's saying. Um, I go a lot more in depth, and I don't know, I mean, we can talk about this in a little bit. I'm leading a workshop in a couple of weeks on this topic, which it's like 6 hours long because there's really a lot of information to cover, and this is just like the tiniest little teaser for it. But first of all, perhaps shifting the mindset on thinking of it as like blocked energy as much as like, okay, there's pain here. What is this pain telling me? What does it have to say to me? There's also another, and this is just like a little tiny nugget to throw out there and, plant a little seed. But there's also some teachings, actually in Ayurveda, that speak about cramps, especially menstrual cramps, being trapped orgasmic energy. The one potential solution to menstrual cramping is more orgasms. Yes, more orgasms. So give yourself more orgasms. Get some more orgasms. Do that, and then we can reassess.
Awesome. Very awesome. Well, let me check the site and see if we've got any questions coming in from anyone. I don't see any questions yet, so I'm guessing we can go ahead and wrap up. Jenna, if you want to share with people, first of all, Jenna does offer readings as well. So you can find Jenna on our site at meetourproviders.com. You can find her and connect with her there. But also, Jenna's got some other wonderful things coming up. And how can people find out about that, Jenna, if they are interested in your workshops, if they're interested in your classes or retreats? How can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, I'm working on like putting together a website that will compile all of these things, and it's a process. I'm allowing the cycles of my life to unfold in perfect timing. And for right now, you can find me at meetourproviders.com. I love being part of the healing community. You can book a Divine Feminine reading with me if you're interested in exploring what the Divine Feminine may have to hold for you at this time. As for workshops, I just led one yesterday, and I've got another one next month coming up. That one is going to be at Pathways of Light in Delafield. It's on April 14th. And let's see, where can, you know what I'll do? I'll post a blog about it on the healing community that will have all of the info, because that might be the easiest way. I do also have a Facebook page. You can find me at Blossom into Wholeness on Facebook. And, I'm like somewhat sporadic about my self-promotion practices. It's okay.
Absolutely. It's a cycle. It's a
Yeah.
cycle. All right, wonderful. Well, I think that it's for everybody to reach out. Also, there's a link below for the Meet Our Providers page to be able to find Jenna there. I can link in your Facebook page too, Jenna, in case anybody is interested in connecting with you, for your upcoming workshops and everything. I can send a link, and that way people can reach you, via Facebook. I feel like almost everybody's on Facebook now, so hopefully that will give everybody what they need.
Thank
All
you.
right. All right. So, okay. So I don't see any other questions, but I do see some thank yous. So you've got some people saying thank you, Jenna, like it, that it's very, very helpful for them. So thank you so much, Jenna, for being here today. And I'm
Yes.
having a little bit of technical trouble on my end, so I'm really hoping that's not coming through for all of our viewers. So I just want to ask to the viewers, if you are seeing any interference, if the video is choppy, if things are kind of weird on your end, please drop me a note in the comments below and let me know what's going on, because that way I can maybe try to troubleshoot it. All right. So thank you, Jenna. Thank you for being here with all of us today. And thank you for sharing all of your wonderful wisdom and truth. And we'll look forward to talking with you again sometime very soon.
All right. Blessings of the womb.
All right, wonderful. So now for our next step, the next section of our day together today. We've got an inner healing meditation with Lori Ann. So first I would like to, I'm going to unmute Lori Ann so she can say hello to everyone. Hi, Lori Ann. How are you today?
Good. How are you, Deborah?
I'm doing well, thank you. I'm doing well. Well, thanks so much for being here with us. Everyone really loved your healing and your meditations during our last session. Everyone really loved them. So I'm really glad that you can be here with us live today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. This is my first ever live, so I'm a teeny bit nervous.
Oh, you know what? It's wonderful because, first of all, I was nervous too. I'm nervous today as well. But the fact that we get to be here doing it together, makes it easier. Because I feel like you've got such great things to offer the community, and, you've got such a gift. And I feel like many people I know on Facebook, have talked about your talents and gifts and have been very grateful for experiencing them. Like last time when you had the recordings that we shared, people were saying, oh my gosh, Lorianne is so wonderful. She's perfect. She's great. So you've got a whole fan club out there, and hopefully some of them are tuning in today and will be able to give you some support. So all those little feelings of nervousness can melt away.
Thank you.
All right. So would you mind introducing yourself a little bit and telling people a little bit about the meditation that you're going to do today?
Sure. So as Deborah mentioned, my name is Lorianne Victoria. I am an energy worker and also an intuitive reader. You can find me at the healing community, also my own website, enjoylightmedicine.com. So that's pretty easy to find. The meditation / healing that we're going to be doing today is an inner child healing. So what that focuses on is obviously your inner child. A lot of us have experienced trauma, wounding as small children, and most of us hold on to that pretty deep within us. And lots of times we don't even know that we were wounded, but it can come out if we get triggered as an adult. And when that happens, then that's when we start behaving. We sort of go on autopilot and we do things that we maybe don't know why we're doing them. We have extreme emotional reactions to things, and we might not even know, like, I don't know why I just reacted like that to something that didn't seem very serious. So when the inner child isn't allowed to come out and heal and express what it didn't get to express as a child, that's when we run into problems as an adult. So what this healing focuses on is getting to know your inner child. So I don't know if you read the little description under the description of my session, but if you have, for this meditation, if you have a photo of yourself as a child, that will help a lot. If you don't, you can just sort of close your eyes and imagine yourself at a certain age. So for this meditation, you can also even maybe draw a picture of yourself as a child if you need to. So if you've got a pen and paper handy, so just what we're going to be doing is talking to your inner child. So that's why the photo is helpful. Yeah, and that's about it. Maybe a pen and a paper too, for if you, in case stuff comes up that you maybe weren't aware of, you can write that down. I think that's about it.
Okay, wonderful. Well, that sounds like an awesome journey. I have done some inner child work myself, and I find that it's incredibly powerful in being able to work through stuff as an adult when you can go back to that inner child and see where these patterns and where these, where these things began. Because when you can kind of tune into that and work through that, I feel like it does, just like Lorianne said, it does release the pattern in your adult life. So you don't need to keep, like, sometimes I feel like we kind of get into these, like lessons or energies where we keep kind of repeating the same patterns, getting the same kind of bosses, getting the same kind of relationships, getting the same, and it's like when you go in and you do that inner child work and you repattern yourself on the deep subconscious level, I feel like it sets you free to then be able to really, experience your life in the, in the greatest, capacity. So I'm really excited to experience the meditation with you today, Lorianne, and I'm looking forward to it. And hopefully everyone was able to get an image of their childhood. And if not, maybe take a moment now to see if there's something you can look around and grab real quick, or even an item that you might have from your childhood if you've got anything left over. Or something that reminds you, even if it's not a picture of you, maybe something to remind you of your childhood. So thank you so much, Lorianne. Are you ready to get started?
Yeah, ready.
All right, perfect. I'm going to go ahead and mute myself.
Okay. All right, I can't hear you now, Deborah.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and mute myself
Okay.
so nobody hears any coughing or sneezing in the background or anything. And that way everyone can just really fully focus on you and your meditation.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so as I mentioned, you'll need a photo of yourself as a child to talk to during this meditation. As Deborah mentioned, if you don't have a photo, an item that sort of reminds you of that time in your childhood could be helpful. So the process of healing your wounded inner child is one, it can bring up a lot of grief. And I've actually had a lot of clients say that this is just a really powerful emotional exercise. And I also, I recommend repeating this quite a few times, weekly, monthly, something like that. The reason is because the first time you do it, you may or may not get any emotional reactions. Ideally, what we want to do is repeat this exercise until nothing's triggered, nothing comes up, and there's no deep emotional wounds that that come up. So yeah, get your photo of your inner child, and then we're going to just talk a little bit about what you can expect before we get into this. For your inner child to come out and be able to heal anything that's happened as a child. He or she must be able to trust that you, as an adult, are going to be here for him or her. And your inner child also needs a supportive, non-judgmental, non-shaming friend to validate any abandonment, neglect, or abuse. So your inner child is going to need validation. So if you still minimize or rationalize any of the ways in which you were shamed, ignored, neglected, you can first start by accepting that these things wounded you. So what we're going to do now is just accept that you were hurt. So get the picture of your inner child or the item and say out loud to the picture. I should have one here, but I don't. I'm sorry you were hurt. Now, a powerful way to make this more intense is to put your name on it. So, for example, I look at my picture and I say, Lorianne, I'm sorry you were hurt. Putting your name there just makes it really personal and really real, and you can kind of feel the connection to yourself as a person. While you're doing this, you might feel shock, because shock is one of the stages of grief. So you might feel, as you're naming the incidences or the feelings, you might feel a little bit of shock that these things actually happened to you. And after shock can come depression or denial, those kinds of things. One of the things you may also feel is anger. And if you do feel angry, that's great. Be angry. It's really okay to be angry, even if what was done to you was unintentional. In fact, you probably have to get angry if you want to heal your wounded inner child. So if you feel like being angry, do. If you feel like shouting, screaming, you can definitely do that too. You'll also feel sadness because you have to grieve any of the betrayals or neglects that you experienced as a child. You might also have to grieve if you grew up too soon or if you missed out on doing things because of negative experience as a child. And you'll also experience remorse and loneliness. So while we're doing this meditation, I'm going to be sending Reiki also throughout the entire exercise. And so you'll probably feel that too. If you're not really familiar with Reiki and the energy, you could feel it in any number of ways. Some people will feel it as like a cool wind. Some people might feel it as warm. You could feel it in different parts of your body as tingling or just sort of energy moving around. Okay, so to begin, you've got the photo of yourself and just hold on to it in front of you or maybe prop it up so that you can see it. And you just want to start talking to the photo of your childlike self. So first of all, just say, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And then if you can recall a specific event in which you were wounded as a child, if you were neglected, abused, mistreated, even just something where you didn't feel good, where something upset you, you can voice this. So you can voice it out loud to the photo, or if you did get a piece of paper and a pen, you can write that down. So what we're going to say now is self. So put your name in here too. So Lorianne, I'm sorry that this happened. Now it's helpful if you can name an event or a situation when you're saying this. So self, I'm sorry that this event happened. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Now for this part, put your name in after you say I love you. So I love you, Lorianne. A lot of my clients for this part feel a little bit uncomfortable at first saying I love you and then adding your name. And they also report this part being a really emotional and powerful statement. So what you want to do now is concentrate on your inner child and how you felt growing up. At this moment, are there any emotions that come up, any strong feelings? If so, you can write these down. You can also speak to the photo that you're holding. And then ask your inner child to come forward And then we're going to work on becoming a loving parent to yourself. So you're going to ask what you needed as a child that you didn't get. And again, you can voice this to the photo, or you can write this down. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to give to yourself what you were lacking as a child. So you want to be specific and use as many words and feelings and even trigger words as you can. So just as an example, this is not necessarily true for me, but as an example, I didn't feel loved by my mother. So I say to myself, I love you and you are worthy of a parent's love. Now looking at the photo of yourself as a child, I love you, Lorianne. You're worthy of a parent's love. So often at this point, you'll find that old issues, feelings, you might even get memories that you didn't even know were there, come flooding back. And as these things come to your attention, just remember to try to respect the validity of any of the hurts or feelings that come up. Don't be judgmental. Don't try to push it down and feel like you should be stronger or shouldn't feel this way. Just listen to whatever comes up, because all of these feelings are valid. Excuse me. And as you become aware of the issues that hurt you as a child, there may be people that came up. They could be people that are in your life now, or they even could be people who have since passed who caused you hurt. So if specific people come up during this part of the exercise, tell them how you feel. Now you can talk to the photo, or you can write these down. Use feeling words. Give the hurt a name. If you were angry, if you feel sad, if you feel betrayed, write all this down and just keep writing as stuff comes up. And just keep listening to how your inner child feels, because every feeling that comes up is real and valid and important. And even though these are experiences that happened to you quite some time ago, these feelings are things that you're still holding inside of yourself, and they're just as real as if the experiences are happening right now. So just continue thinking about things that happened to yourself as a child, writing them down, talking to the photo, talking about what you didn't get, and then in a very proactive statement, giving yourself that by saying what you deserve and what you need right now. When you're doing this on your own, you might want to keep doing this for as long as you can, depending on what comes up. You might have a big long list of hurts, lacks, neglect, and that kind of stuff. So you just keep going until nothing else comes up. For the purpose of this exercise, we're just going to move on to the next part. And when you feel you've explored as many lacks and hurts, we'll just get ready to do the next part of this exercise. So what I like to do now is to thank my inner child for having all these hurtful experiences. Now, it might sound a little bit funny to thank somebody for a negative experience, but you really want to just embrace and allow all of this to come up in a non-judgmental way. So thank your inner child for having all of these experiences. Thank her for sharing them with you. And once again, look at your photo and tell yourself you love her. And again, use your name. So Lorianne, thank you. I love you. And then the next part, we're just going to do some focused breathing. So just breathe in your nose and out your mouth. And as you're exhaling, you're just going to let go of any of the negative stuff that's stuck inside you, anything that came up as a result of these exercises. And then what we're going to do is put your left hand on your heart and then your right hand on your belly. And then just breathing in quietly. And just feel how comforting it feels with your hand on your heart and your other hand on your belly. And just know that you can do this anytime you're feeling stressed or anxious. Just place your hand on your heart and your other hand on your stomach and just breathe deeply. Now what we're going to do is you're going to close your eyes and visualize the sun shining in front of you. And try to get an image of that sun shining its light onto you and onto your inner child. As you breathe in, you'll just feel the sunlight washing down over your body and over your inner child's body, and it's filling you up, and it's warming you, and it's healing you. And it's filling your heart with sunshine, and it's filling your whole body with sunshine. So now tell yourself, I love you. And again, use your name and tell yourself, the inner child in the photo, that you love her. Always use your name when you say I love you. So now just let your heart open, and you're going to make room for everything good in the universe and all the light of the sun to come in to your heart. And as I mentioned before, I'm sending Reiki, and so right now I'm sending it again. So just breathe in and allow all of that healing energy and all the energy from the sun to come right into your body and right into your inner child as well. So you're going to feel the healing light entering your body where your hand is touching your heart. And then you're also going to feel it where your hand is touching your stomach. So just a few deep breaths as you let that healing energy fill you up. And then close your eyes and visualize that same energy from the sun filling up your inner child's body and heart. And so just take a few moments to feel this energy filling you up and healing you, and feel it entering your inner child's body and healing your inner child too. Now, what I like to do at this point is, if you have an image of your inner child, so just close your eyes and visualize that sunlight coming into the body of your inner child. So in your hands, just pouring right into that picture or item that you're holding. So just bask in this feeling and knowing that you're now being healed, and that your inner child is being filled with this healing, love, and light. And know that whenever you feel tense or stress or any issues from childhood come up, you've got your inner child safely cupped in the palm of your hand. And whenever you want, you can pour healing light and love into that child and into yourself. So to finish this off, I just want to speak again to the photo of your child and just say, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And that's basically all that we have. Oh, I didn't close that. That's basically all that we have for this. Again, if you're going to be doing this later on your own, you'll have notes and things. And if things have come up that you feel like you want to revisit later on subsequent sessions, you can relook at anything that really caused a severe emotional reaction.
That was really beautiful, Lorianne. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Deborah.
And just so that everybody knows who's watching, all of these are going to be all of these are being recorded. So if you want to do this exercise and you want to revisit it, you want to come back and expand the work that you did today, you'll be able to revisit and listen to this again. Initially, it will all be posted as a 6-hour live, a 6-hour recording. It takes me a day or two, sometimes 3, to kind of get everything separated out. So eventually, you'll be able to just tune into just Lorianne's piece, if that's what you need to do, you know. But so basically, everything's going to be available to you initially in the full video, and then within a couple of days, it'll be available in segments. So I want to ask too, if anybody has any questions for Lorianne about, you know, the healing, working with your inner child, anything that you guys want to know, if you could just drop it in the chat box below this video and just let me know. I'll keep an eye on the box, and that way, you know, I can share any questions with Lorianne that you guys might, you know, be thinking about. You know, for now, if it's okay, Lorianne, I'd love to talk a little bit more about the healing of the inner child. And, for people who've had traumatic childhoods, who maybe dealt with abuse, neglect, things like that. And, there's a lot of stuff that might be coming up. Do you have any like tips or techniques or resources for ways of dealing with that? Because I know sometimes people are resistant to doing inner child work because, it's like there's so many layers of pain that's all covered up and they just want to forget about it. And so if people experience intense emotions, or if they experience painful, tender, woundedness within themselves when they're doing this kind of work, do you have any tips for them or ways they might be able to work through that?
First of all, for my clients, I'm always available. I am very available at Facebook Messenger. Sometimes it takes me a little while to get back to everybody, but if stuff comes up and you don't really know how to respond to it, or if you don't have anyone to talk to, I'm definitely always here. But what I always tell people is just to be really nice to yourself when this is happening. Like if you don't want to go to work the day after you've done it, just don't. Don't worry about if your boss is going to be upset. If you want to just sit at home on the couch and cry for a day after you've done it, just do that. Just be really nice to yourself. Take baths, drink a lot of water because you're probably going to be crying and you'll dehydrate yourself. But my main advice is just to be extremely nurturing to yourself when you're dealing with this kind of stuff, because you didn't get it then, so you need it from back then, and you need it for now too. So that's my main advice on that.
That's great advice. That's great advice. All right, let me just check the line and see if there's any questions that have come in while we were chatting. And just got just a little thumbs up, got a little confirmation from one of our viewers that thank you, Lori Ann. This is lovely, and adding the picture is a great addition. And I want to say that I think it is too. For a long time, I kept on my altar a picture of myself as a child. Because I was like, I want to say like 3 years old or something like that. And that was kind of like in the early stages of my childhood. So, as I moved through the more painful pieces after that, it was harder and harder for me to embrace myself. So I had a picture of my 3-year-old self, and then what I thought was probably the ugliest picture of myself when I was like 8 years old or something. Like I was just awkward, and my hair was all jacked up, and my teeth were weird, and I thought it was such a hideous picture of me. And the photographer was actually like teasing me, making fun of me during the picture. So I was like, I just thought I looked terrible. So, and my mom saved it, bless her heart. My mom saved the picture, and I kept that on my altar for a long time so that I could learn to love all the broken parts of myself that I thought were ugly and gross and disgusting, and so that I could try to learn to love them. I would pray and look to my little self and just tell myself, that basically whatever message is to reparent that little piece of me, in my 8-year-old photo. So I have to agree. I think the photos are a great idea, and I really love that. Thank you so much.
And what I think is interesting about the photos too is if you've ever looked through old family photo albums, when you see a picture of yourself at a certain age, suddenly memories will come back from that period that you maybe didn't think about until you saw the photos. So different photos from different ages might elicit different responses, different emotional responses.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It definitely does. Definitely does. And for some people, they might not. I feel like even my kids, when they look at old pictures of themselves, it helps to solidify their story about their own childhood.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, this picture reminds me like this happened. And so like the memories are easier to hold on to and embrace,
For sure.
with the photo. Yeah, absolutely. All right, let me take a peek and see. We have another thumbs up for you, Lori Ann. Guest 7081 said, excellent, thank you. So you've got a lot of kudos, but not a lot of questions, which is, just fine. It means you did a great job presenting and nobody's got any question marks around it. So
Thank you.
that's awesome. That's awesome. All right, so now I know you do a lot of different things. I know you offer readings. You offer a wide variety of types of readings. We have a couple of minutes left. Would you mind sharing with everybody, like, kind of exactly what you do? And, because I know you've got such a broad spectrum of, types of readings that you offer.
I do, yeah. So I do, for the majority, I do just intuitive readings. I do use cards, but I like to just present whatever I get from the universe, from your higher self, your guides, my guides, whatever. But I also offer twin flame readings. Those are mostly, it's like a relationship reading for people who feel like they may have found their twin flame in life. That one really just looks into the relationship, if the person is your twin flame or not, and if there are past life connections and that kind of thing. Another reading that I offer that's not necessarily popular, but valuable, is a shadow reading. And what that looks into is your shadow self. So the parts of your personality that you like to keep hidden, but will come out in during trauma or stress or that kind of thing. And I also offer activations, so chakra activations, a light body activation, and then, excuse me, I offer soul star chakra activation too. So if you know anything about the chakras, we have this. I always roll my eyes when we say 7 main chakras, but just because that's what people mostly are aware of. So there's the 7 main chakras, and then there's some, again, above your head. So the soul star chakra is about here. That one connects you to your intuition even more than the crown and your third eye. It will connect you to the Akashic records, past lives, that kind of thing. So the soul star activation activates all your chakras, the soul star chakra, and also the universal soul star chakra. So that one's pretty powerful for people who feel like they just want to go the next step in their spiritual evolution and sort of be able to contact guides, get into their past lives, and that kind of thing. And also Reiki, and I actually just finished a Crystal Reiki course too, so I'm now a Crystal Reiki master, so that's a lot of fun. I like working with crystals, so it's nice to be able to incorporate that into healings.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. Now, for anyone who is interested in working with Lori Ann, you can schedule or you can reach her through our website at meetourproviders.com. And to reach her directly, would you mind sharing your direct website too, Lori Ann?
Sure. So that's www.enjoylightmedicine.com, and enjoy is INJOY.
That's beautiful. It's beautiful. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today, and thank you for the wonderful meditation and the exercises to do. I think probably most of us have got inner child wounds that need healing. So it's a perfect exercise for just about anybody. So thank you so much for coming today, Lori Ann. I'm really glad, and thank you for being this your first live stream. You did amazingly well. I'm sure everybody is going to agree. We got lots of great feedback. So well done.
Thank you.
And I'll let you go now. And I guess to sign out, all you need to do is on your screen, go to the top of the screen, and there's a little red phone button, which will help you leave the video.
Okay.
Okay?
And thank
All
you.
right.
Thanks for making it so easy for me. Thank you for your help.
Wonderful. So glad you could be here. Well, have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, everyone. So our next presenter actually called in sick. She's not feeling well today. And so I'm going to fill in for her. But before I do, I'm going to log out of this video call for a minute and log back in, because for some reason when I got kicked out before, I didn't get to log back in as the host. And so I'm missing some of the tools and some of the resources that I'm going to need for our presenters later this afternoon. So for everybody who's watching this live video right now, please stay tuned. I'm only going to be gone for a minute. During that minute, I would love for you, if you have any questions, anything you want to know about, If you have anything you want me to do a reading on or to check on some messages, for you, I'd be happy to do that. So I'm going to be gone for about a minute or two, just relogging back into this exact same video call. You don't need to go anywhere at all. You guys can wait right where you are. I'm just going to try to log back in and see if it will allow me to become a host again. So that way it'll make it a little easier for me with all the presenters. And you guys can think about questions you have for me or any readings you might want, because our next speaker was scheduled to be Sarah Joy, who is a spiritual medium. Now, I do some mediumship work. I don't necessarily, put a lot of promotional information out there about it. But I am clairvoyant. I see pictures and images, and I'm clairsentient and claircognizant. So I get like a sense and a knowing of things. I don't hear voices speaking to me directly. So that part, I'm like, I'm missing out on. I'd love that gift. It'd make my job so much easier, but I don't have it. So I get images and pictures that I see, and I get a sense and knowing of what they might mean. I've also got my cards right next to me since we talked about tarot cards earlier. So I'd be happy to flip some cards for people too, just whatever questions you might have. All right, so you guys think about your questions and sit tight, and I will be back in 1 or 2 minutes.